I think maybe he's going to do that. Maybe he'll surprise us and come back with a beard.
It's way better.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, he looks. I've shaven recently as well. Thank you so much, VV. So I look 25 years old. Okay, so I look a little older than I am. Thank you so much, VV, for that as we continue to do it. All right, there it is, man. Another 15 cents on Robinhood. All right, we got to hit the gym right now, so we'll be back very, very soon. Take it over, Obi and Joseph.
We'll get them, boys.
Hitting the gym.
Yo.
Took that one out of Sharif's playbook there. All right, what's up, traders? Yeah, the little flexion and a pab, a straight right. Nice. Right down the center of the lane right there, guys. Happy, what is it, Thursday today? Man, it feels like a Friday for some reason.
Yeah, right.
Did you wake up thinking it was a Thursday or Friday today? I don't know.
When I wake up,
man.
It's just blurry. I don't even think about what day it is.
Just going by day, man. Take it day by day.
Just like, it's the morning.
Just wake up and robot mode, you know what I mean? That's how we got to do. But what's up, everybody? What's going on, all my traders? Sorry, I heard myself in the mic there. Let's do a little roll call here. Skull, what's up, my guy? Erie Pages, Jay Lee. I hope you had some puts in play. Ooh, in the personal, I just got out of those Amazon calls, my friends. I didn't have any puts. What's going on? Cold King Blue Army. We like that. Blue Arrow. I like that. I met a kid named Arrow. Pretty cool child. Hassan Yassan, Blue Arrow. Once again, Gorev, my guy. What's going on? Blue Arrow, we already seen you. Jose Perez, Fat Finger, Jose Alvarez, Brown Lightning, Blue Arrow, come on, man. You keep psyching me out. You're always in the chat. We see you. Dajit Singh, and we'll do a couple more here. Monroe. Oh, that's not Monroe Ho. You know Monroe Ho there. Always Sounder, Santana. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's having a good session. And I heard that, sorry, Obi, I heard that Katina man said he shaved. So guys, let me in the chat. Should I let the scruff grow or do we shave it off? Let me know. Do we go beard or do we just clean it all up there? Obi, how was your day?
Not too bad. Yeah, no. Let's see. I'm curious to know if Sharif shows up with the beard there.
That's a rumor I started.
Okay. All right. This is a rumor that Sean started. Let's see if the rumor comes into fruition. But oh boy, look at this TQ short, man. Like I was watching this TQs, I'm like, yeah, the short potentially coming in here. 53s holding lower lows and lower highs. We broke that day low as well. And yeah, I was involved in the pre-market. I kind of liked the long a little bit here. I was like, we're selling off a little bit. I liked a few of the factors of confluence that were showing up, but I might have been a little too early, and I kind of take it into this pop into the 5220s. But guess what? We open up and we blast through. So stop never really got taken out here below those 5160s. I just got to do better with just holding on to everything, and maybe if I'm doing that off of the open, we can see that I do get attempts and chances. I watched this bid up and I was like, oh boy, I want to wait for the reversion now because this is what I was looking for to revert. But again, I think I was looking for a little bit too much there. I was like, this might consolidate and go a little bit more. But you can see what the VIX is doing as well, guys. Got to keep an eye on this one here. Fresh highs on that one relative to recent movement here, 28.77. We were kind of looking at this yesterday, and I was like, oh boy, do we kind of come in and what do we do in and around this 2180? And we kind of gapped up above all of this right here, 25 hold in and around. When was that? That was 450. Yeah, so sometime in the morning session there. On the VIX, yeah, 28.81 is the high right now, coming up into some prior levels there. Let's see if we get a VIX of 30. Volatility is definitely going to be a little bit different above that VIX of 30, but yeah, above 20 for sure. 25s, we're getting into some decent territory as of right now. I'm excited for potential opportunities that might be on the horizon and ones that are already being presented. I'm kind of watching this market being like, okay, yeah, the long was great, the short was great as well. Didn't have either of those. I kind of traded that. What is it? I traded Walmart here in the morning because again, I had eyes on Walmart.
What led you to Walmart this morning?
I kind of had it on watch because it was doing relative volume and it had sold off relative to other tickers, and yeah, there's also fundamental reasoning behind it as well. Kind of Walmart being potentially affected by worldwide tariffs there.
Okay.
But yeah, regardless, I'm just like, I watched it off of the open there. I don't know why this chart is not showing up. But yeah, I'm still in a little bit here, a little bit of
nice
breadcrumb.
play.
So just a VWAP continuation, very simple. Yeah, off of the open, I was looking for the short. I was like, all right, well, if it holds VWAP, and I saw this aggressive move, I'm like, oh boy. Walmart moving from 84.60s all the way to 90 right off of the open. Like I saw this and I was like, I kind of hesitated here in the 60s and the 70s here, and I was like, okay, this might be a great place to start taking a potential reversion because it didn't really get to 90 in that bid. Very aggressive, started to slow down. We got a beautiful reversion to VWAP. I missed that trade as well, and I was patient. I was like, all right, let's see what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen. What if we revert all the way, right? Then I would have missed out on a great reversion trade. But I see the bid kind of holding in and around VWAP. You can see VWAP here. It doesn't necessarily have to hold clean VWAP, but I'm using structure. I'm using tape. I'm using kind of the distinct difference on the tape, kind of from the selling off of the 90s. You can see this is aggressive selling. Boom, 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 boom. The tape starts to slow down. I start to get a little involved on top of that VWAP, risk to the low, being willing to give it a couple of tries. I could have totally gotten stopped out of this, but it ended up working. I add at the appropriate stops when the confirmation comes in. And then I might be a little too hasty taking some of this off, but I piece off of it pretty decently into this lower high where kind of that short idea comes right back in, right? So now we're consolidating sideways. Let's see if VWAP buyers come back in here on Walmart as well. What else did I have on watch this morning? Again, TQs I was involved with. That trade is coming on. I'm looking for the next trade. 29.22s here on the VIX. So yeah, VIX volatility is spiking as of right now. As the market takes some fresh lows, we can see that just prior day, we were attempting to test that 19.6, 19.5. We consolidated. And then today, we kind of we're cracking below that 19,000, over 500 to 600 points lower there relative to those areas. And yeah, 18,750 right now. So a little bit to the downside. We're getting that continuation off of tariffs, right? So some selling happening here, Joe.
Yeah, very much so.
What were you involved with?
Yeah, I mean, what wasn't I involved with at this point here, Obi? We got a nice little move there on Google, still slightly red on the session. This is where I got chopped up, looking for this move. Added was just going really aggressive for the break of the high day there, and then we took multiple attempts. So this is entry one, double the position all the way through, and just going for that grand slam move, and then we just get stopped out. Try it again, really small size, get stopped out, and same thing again. Started small and then added to it, and then got stopped out. So that was my work for the morning. So slightly red, but that's okay. Nothing we can't recover from here on the day. I don't know if we're going to get those bounces, but Google being one of the better bottoms here, you can see on that 1 minute time frame, guys. Really beautiful isolated signature and pivot here. So a nice trade on that front. So going off of this, and we get that move all the way up into here, and then you can see us just run into prior support, now acting as resistance, and then now the underlying actually rejects it. So that was that there, guys. I mean, a lot of stuff to go on and talk about with tariffs across the board. I mean, Donald obviously giving a little leeway to Canada and Mexico, but then just slapping it on countries like Taiwan, etc., and some other names that I have notes of. But really good look here as we climb higher. So I got stopped out break even, and I didn't hop back in, which is unfortunate as we climb back towards those highs, because that was relatively quick, and I didn't know if as the market was taking another leg down, that we were going to continue on that path. So put some respect. Hey, listen, Casey France. I got some respect for him. I didn't say nothing bad. All right, that's it. So we got respect for the Prezi. Don't worry about that. But let's get right into this lesson here. Oh, I hate when that happens. Okay, yeah, so now everything on my screen is gone. Obi, how do you do that thing to bring it back? Like,
Shake that.
Shake it like a salt shaker. Yeah, shake it like a salt shaker. Shake it like a salt shaker. Did it do it again? Okay. Did it again? All right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Google. Wow. That's insane there, Google. Too bad we couldn't hold on to that position. What a liquidity grab right here, Obi. And then it just climbs all the way to your boy's target. And north of that, squeezing the overall market. Oh, now I got a bunch of dark pool whips that I need to deal with. Okay. I'm all over the place here, guys. Let's get right into this lesson. A lot going on. We want to be able to hop right back into the market here. I'm going to take another stab at the TQs. Let's see if we can get this rally underway. So, yeah, what's up? Yo, what's going on, Stevenson, my guy? All right, advanced options. You can disable the setting that Does that minimize? Oh, yeah, thank you. All right. So anyways, I forget where they're setting. Yeah, we're not too worried about that right now, but let's get right into this lesson. Someone in the chat mentioned it today, and we like this. Stellantis just announced 900 layoffs due to tariffs. Yeah, that's not good whatsoever there, Jay Lee. Good. Good looking out right there, my friend. We're going to add a little bit more to this TQQ move here, guys. But let's get right into this. The put to call ratio, that's what we're going to be going over here today, is the PCR. I've seen multiple people talking about it in the chat, and I think it's really important to understand what the PCR is and how we can implement it on our day-to-day trading. Over 5,600 people watching here, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe, because we're going to get right back into these markets here real quick. We'll do a couple slides and get into it. The put to call ratio is a widely used sentiment indicator in the options market that helps traders assess whether market participants are leaning bullish or bearish. It measures the volume or open interest of put options relative to call options. Very important, and it's going to come into play today because you can see that the PCR is heightened and that we have more puts being bought than calls. So the formula for the put to call equals the total put volume divided by the total call volume. Very simplistic. Put options contracts to give the holder the right to sell an asset at a specific price. That means they're slightly bearish. Call options contracts to give the holder the right to buy an asset at a specific price. Bullish PA. All right, guys. So a higher PCR means more puts are being traded than calls, signaling a bearish sentiment. A lower PCR of less than 1 means that more calls are being traded, suggesting bullish sentiment. Pull up your PCRs on your trading platform and see where it's sitting at right now. All right, so how does this work? So you can see from a market price decline, you have a heightened in the PCR ratio. And then as we slowly go on the ascent here, guys, and climb higher, the PCR dwindles and drops off. So that can signal some bullish sentiment in the overall market. You see us selling here, PCR rises. We see us start to rally, the PCR starts to decline, okay? So how do traders use the put to call ratio? Sentiment indicator for the market direction. PCR greater than 1, more puts than calls. Bearish sentiment, as I previously stated. PCR less than 1, more calls than puts. Bullish sentiment. And then an equal PCR balance between puts and calls. Neutral sentiment there, guys, all right? So example, if the PCR spikes sharply, it might suggest excessive fear in the market, which contrarian traders might see a potential buying opportunity, which I've seen right now. Me and Gene, you can check your trading platform and it should give you the ability, depending on which one that you are, it's just an additional indicator, all right? So we're gonna do this last slide, stop, and then get back to it later because there's a lot to cover here. Contrarian indicator means reversion strategy. OB 101, the PCR is often used as a contrarian indicator because extreme readings tend to indicate that a reversal is near. A high PCR of greater than 1.2 to 1.5 indicates extreme fear, meaning the market could be oversold. Bullish reversal possible, all right? Low PCR less than 0.6 to 0.4 indicates excessive optimism, meaning that the market could be overbought. Bearish reversal possible. Example, if the S&P 500 has a PCR of 1.5, it may indicate that the traders are buying too many puts out of fear. A contrarian trader may look for long opportunities, expecting a market bounce. Okay, so we're going to stop right here, guys. We're going to get right back into these markets, and we'll come back to the lesson in a brief moment or so because we want to cover what's going on here today. So I am now in some TQs. We missed that reload on the on Google itself, but we're going to hop right into the TQs and look for this bottom. We got a really nice bounce here, and I added slightly aggressively, looking for the continuation of the break. We're going to try to hold to 52 to see if we can break through some of this resistance zone here, Obi. It's not looking like it right now. You can see the imbalance on the L2. We would want to see that flip, but we got some strength in the time of sales, and that's what really matters as we start to climb higher and higher here, Obi.
Nice push there. Thanks, on the TQs. I was watching that as well. Kind of maybe potential bounce incoming here on the TQQs. Again, have a little bit more eyes on this ticker. I kind of, like I said before, I think there were pretty decent reasons to get in short here in and around VWAP, in and around this chop. And then when this trend kind of started to break, yeah, I think the long is definitely working out as of right now. Let's see if we can revert back to VWAP. Again, with a VIX this high, I think that the range on the legs of the moves might be a little bit extended, and you can see how that can potentially provide opportunity for short-term traders like us, just taking pieces of extended legs off there. And yeah, let's see, we're catching a little bit of a bid there. 50.62's lows on the TQs. Let me know in the chat, what are you guys watching? Casey France saying Intel dying. Yeah, no, Intel definitely. Wow, look at the reversion on this one. Oh boy, beautiful kind of VWAP hold and 22-23 highs, and then just selling right back down all the way into pre-market lows now. 21.14 day low, currently trading at 21.20s here on Intel. So this is a 1 minute chart. I don't usually look at it on that. Wow, beautiful. On a 3 minute chart, looking very, very nice. 22.18s, maybe to 22.33s. This consolidation looks nice as well on chop of 22s. And then we just crack VWAP on a beautiful trend break. Look at this market tailwind coming in as well. Yeah, we're catching a little bit of a bid off of that 18,750 as of right now. I'm watching the Mag 7 here, not really seeing anything too much other than potentially Amazon. I like that. NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA 102.01 bottoms there. That's interesting. And Tesla with a bottom here at 261.51. So a little bit of a chop back, trading back into its 15-minute opening range here. So potentially some sideways action. But let's see if we make lower highs. Let's see if we can get back up to VWAP, and let's see if sellers continue to stay dominant in this market. A lot of volatility, again, like we expected. We said we might expect it yesterday. He came out after 4 o'clock there. Yeah, that kind of brought in the volatility into the markets. And today we're seeing some more continuation of those sellers kind of still continuing to show us who's in charge. Again, more of the same that's been happening over the past couple of weeks, right? So it's like we consolidated for a little bit, leg down, consolidation, leg down. That's what we're seeing as of right now. No idea where we're going to go going forward, but that's kind of what's been printed on the chart so far. Wow, Intel with a reject of high a day. That was beautiful there. I'm looking at my actual charted Intel, and I was like, yeah, that rejection was something I could definitely have been a little bit involved in. But where is the next trade? That's what I'm asking myself right now. This compression on Walmart I'm watching. Again, that VWAP hold was pretty nice there. Gave me an opportunity to add into the trade as well at some decent places. Never really looked back, and I might need a little bit cleaner sell rules, but I'm not too mad with the exits there. And now we're just consolidating above VWAP. I still have a little bit of the position on. I wanted to add more, but this consolidation, I want to see more information here. TQ is coming right back up into 52. So Joe, nice long on that one there. Nice.
Dude,
nice
I accidentally sold too much, and then it flipped my position on me. So yeah, I fingered that one, but it worked out nice. I probably would have got that target of 52 on it. On there, Obi. So we entered there, doubled the position right here. Took about 10% off right here, and then I go to look at the blotter, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're short, yeah.
I'm like, what? So somewhere along the lines on this last piece out right here, guys, that's unfortunate. I mean, we would have been able to catch another out right there. But I told you slightly red, but we just cut those losses in half. So you can see I went on my IBIT. So I went over 3 on IBIT, and then, again, a couple of trades can just get you right back into the game here. But especially with those heavy ads and aggressive ads there. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Los Polios. I mean, we were waiting for those signals. They displayed themselves on multiple time frames. But again, some of these big names are starting to recover. So that's where you get that rally. But you can see where the buffoonery was going on with IBIT here, monkeying around. But that's okay. But then again, TQ's, it sucks, but it is what it is. We'll be patient. I think there's going to be another opportunity for sure. But you can see that the selling pressure is really starting to die off here, and then the rallying starting to come back to the top side, OB. So, yeah, I'm just going to be really patient to wait and see if we can find anything else that's setting up metas at the likes of VWAP. Same with Apple. I want no part of NVDA today. I don't know how you feel about that, brother.
Yeah, no, I am watching it. I'm watching NVIDIA, but I'm trying to see what other names might be doing interesting things here. And yeah, my attention is now on Intel after it's been called out by Casey. Thank you for that one. Pretty aggressive selling here on Intel. I'm looking at the chips. And this is not the only one with a little bit of a dip here. Micron as well. Micron straight to the downside. Look at that hold on the 15-minute chart, just straight, clean selling. So maybe when the selling is done, maybe there's a potential opportunity there. no idea here. But ARM maybe slowing down there as well, 98.89. So just shy of that 99 is the low day there, coming back up into that 100 level. I don't know how significant this 100 is as of right now. But yeah, it could potentially be a little bit of a something. But chips are being sold off pretty aggressively. You can see it right here on SMH. Again, same thing, 15-minute. Bars have been holding pretty nicely. VWAP sellers kind of coming in. Pre-market lows cracking as well. Opening range lows, yeah, obviously kind of coming in right there at about 10 o'clock. So about 30 minutes into the trading day, that first 15-minute opening range low breaks, and we don't necessarily look back for very long there. And we've been continuing back below that 200 on SMH. And yeah, NVIDIA, I think NVIDIA is poised for a little bit more here. Look at that 3-bar potential happening here. 8 minutes left on this 15-minute bar, but yeah, trading much lower. And yeah, this is what I mean by more of the same. We just go up to a higher time frame here. Look at a 3-hour chart. We've been selling off of these highs pretty aggressively. Yeah, we have like waves in between. We get moments of bidding, maybe that last for a whole month, but we've been making lower lows and lower highs as well off of this double top that we made 153.70s here on NVIDIA. So more to watch out for this one as it enters into the area of that $100 level. It should be interesting. We're currently trading 102, so not that far away, still well within range. If it continues to trend a little bit lower, again, can't forget that I don't know what the ATR is off the top, but we can take a quick look right here on the ATR of the current ATR of NVIDIA. With the volatility being so high, these ATRs kind of moving around a little bit more than normal here. So let's take a quick look at NVDA here. Pull them up. What is this ATR? 5.76 I have. So 5.76 ATR off of the highs. Let's see how much we've kind of done. We've done about 3.4 off of prior day's close. Again, obviously not taking into account the shake and bake of the tariff catalyst there. We're down about 8.3, so just down about an ATR off of the open there. So you can see right here, 6.8 off of the open, 6.6. So yeah, opening up just over an ATR lower and then trending a little bit lower here as well. Relative volume I have here on a 5-period, 1.6, 1.7, so we were kind of elevated. Something I kind of noticed in the morning was Walmart had elevated volume as well. Sure, a lot of things had elevated volume in the morning, but would you take a look at that? 9 times to 10 times elevated RVol here on Walmart. So I had a watch on this one as well. Yeah, I think Nike as well was doing a decent amount of RVol, so that showed up on the scanner as well. 26 times. Yeah, both tickers kind of acting a little bit different here. And yeah, I think what I noticed, I think in the morning, I think it was Pfizer. Yeah, some of the health sector stocks as well. I had an eye on. Wow, Lilly to the downside as well. So beautiful reversion off of that morning bid. Wow, that selling coming in right there at that reaction high from the tariff news as well. So some pretty interesting price action, man.
You got your thing on? All right, we're going. Because you know what, Obi?
Okay, never mind.
That's all good because we got an ad read. Trade the pool, my guy. Every trader knows that if you want to grow, you have to risk more. At least that's how it used to be. Trade the pool is changing that. Starting at $47, you get a real shot at trading up to $200,000 in company capital, while your risk stays capped at that one-time evaluation fee. You don't need a large deposit. You don't need years of experience. This is a limited risk trading platform built for any trader who wants to grow without putting everything on the line, just a small skin in the game, and you're trading with real capital. Here's how it works. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at $47. That's your total risk. From there, you trade real shares, no CFDs, using company capital. Head over to tradethepool.com and start your journey today, guys. There you go. Scan the QR code. Trade the pool. $47. $47 ain't too much. There,
I should be able to hear everyone.
You good now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I thought. I mean, Unity was on. I guess it wasn't logged in.
That's all right.
Okay. Yes, I can hear Ramin. Hello. What's up?
No, yeah, I mean,
Amazon with a bit of a reversion happening here, so yeah, that trade is coming in. I looked at it and I was like, oh boy, should I be taking this here? I was like, I don't know if I want to take a 1.5 worth of risk, but at the end of the day, like if I think the probability of the move continuing is high, just take that 1-to-1, take that even. Maybe if I think it's extremely high for a reversion to VWAP and I might have missed the trade, I can definitely risk a little tighter or give it the real risk, size down, and take that negative RR because I think it is a high probability back to VWAP. But that's kind of working out here. Market tailwind, again, obviously on our side. But let's see if VWAP sellers show up here on Amazon, kind of continuing giving us the same kind of market move here. So I'm kind of looking for VWAP sellers or lower highs across the board here. Let's see if that kind of comes into fruition, or is this level here kind of the day low and maybe we revert back up to the highs? I have no idea what's going to happen, but curious to know what might happen at VWAP or in and around those areas. Anything that's a relatively a lower high than prior levels here. Let's take a quick skim over the Mag 7, so NVIDIA here, so yeah, still lots of room to VWAP, so that can definitely send a little bit further if it's trying to revert to the mean there. And what else do we got? We got Tesla, of course. We got to take a look at Tesla here. 276.30's day high. What a beautiful, beautiful pullback here. Day lows at 261.51. Couldn't quite get to the 8 p.m. low from last night. You can see how aggressively this ticker was sold off, pretty much closing at the low of the whole day's session, 8 p.m., closing at the lows right there at 260 flat. There, the last prints coming in and around that level. But we kind of gap up relative to that off of the open today and break through pre-market kind of trend. You can see the downtrend is broken. We get that aggressive bid up, and then now that bid kind of slowing down. Let's see if that bid can take us back up to VWAP like some of the other Mag 7s. But yeah, looking for more selling here on the day if there is going to be true continuation. You can see the spider as well. Here kind of holding in and around its VWAP pretty nicely, kind of a little bit of an extension down to 540s, 539.58 is the day low. And prior day that the reaction lower, kind of the low of after hours yesterday was 542.20 on the dot there on the spider. So catching a little bit of a bid. That long is coming in pretty strong there as well on the TQs, man. Yeah, sometimes you got to get back in.
Yeah, sometimes you got to.
But yeah, I know.
Gotta get back in.
Like I sometimes I miss the trade and I'm like, all right, the next trade has got to be the reversion. So I just wait and I wait, and sometimes I get a little impatient and get too involved.
Well, that's the thing, right? So that's the battle that we're facing right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we have essentially a Deion Sanders primetime entry right here, and then we add to the position, and then we just make a small mistake right here. So we'll have to go back and see it and check the orders. So, yeah, I get that, Katie Damster. It is what it is. Trust me, I'm in the same boat as you, right? Like. So just cool, take a breather, KD, and relax and just smile, listen to what we got going on, because now I'm in the same boat as you, right? So like you can see I made a small mistake here on the TQs, and it cost me a move up to my target, which I mentioned before was at 52. I said it in the chat, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for 52 here on the TQs. Didn't get that. But then look what happened in Google here, right? So like, again, we grab it nice, long off of the bottom, and then I just get essentially stopped out, break even, and then look where it goes. Like goes like $2 in the money essentially at that. So yeah, it is what it is, man. We just have to be patient and wait for that next trade. It's just a couple missed opportunities. They blow, but it also depends on how strong you're willing to bounce back. So I can't really complain. It was a rough start this morning, but then we put on a couple nice trades that get us right back in the game and that's exactly what we want to do. So yeah. I mean, guys, it's a tough day out there. Don't get it twisted. If you're trying to fight this trend, you got to be really patient and precise and wait for those entries. So if we look at Google on the 5-minute, this is why essentially I was in a beautiful print here, guys, and then we just get that move. But then we missed the majority of it. So it is what it is. We'll be patient, and then that's one thing that will be said. Just sit on the hands, and I think a lot of traders can agree to that on that front too, because it does look like it wants to climb higher. And if the Mag 7 want to start to recover, then I think that'll be a good entry for the Qs. Yeah, okay, so Atul, you want to stay awake? All right, hey, you gotta come in at 2 o'clock then, brother, or be here earlier in the morning. So, yeah, do what you got to do there, my friend. But yeah, like, NVIDIA's starting to recover a little bit here as well, OB. Let's see if we can grab something. I don't want to chase it right now because we are running into some resistance zones. So let's see if we're going to get that additional pullback. Down, let's see, we're at 6.5% on the day, but we did break through this 103 level, which is looking pretty good. I was looking at the options chain. This morning, and 455 had the most OI, and you can see that the one of the bottoms that we set in the pre-market was around 450, 456. So yeah. Gotta be patient. It does look like we're going to continue to slowly grind higher and start to recover. Apple's starting to come back in as well too, OB, so I have to be patient on that front to see what we got going on. But this first hour of trading for NVDA, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, oh, that is not something that you would necessarily want to be a part of. Me personally, to each their own, right? But this was a hot mess, and I'm like, oh, it's eventually going to break down. And then sure enough, you can see the volume slowly start to stair step, and then it breaks through key support levels and just continues that move to the downside, to the southeast there, guys. So yeah, we'll be a little bit more patient, come back into the zone. That way we can use a definitive shelf here. You can see that we're holding 102.60s really, really well. So if we can catch the bottom of the range there on NVDA, then maybe we'll have to sit in a grinder on this one, because that seems to be the narrative for this session. It's an absolute grinder, but there you go. You see that volume really start to step in there, Obi, and the tape speed up as well too. So there it goes. NVDA looking like it wants to run into the volume weighted average price, my friend.
Yeah, that bid's definitely coming in. I'm kind of watching. I'm curious to know, what are you guys trading? I want to take a look at some charts here. Mean Gene 1980 saying Hood, MSTR, and Google long. Okay, cool. Let's take a quick look at those. I know Sean was a little involved in Hood earlier, I think. Wow, what a beautiful kind of a rejection of that $40 level there. Beautiful reversion as well. Oh my God, like this kind of market. Again, the VIX. Oh boy, where's the VIX at? I gotta keep an eye on this one here. Actually, that's an important chart. I need to keep that one on watch all day as well. But okay, so the VIX is at 27.8, so 28. So we are kind of pulling back a little bit here. But yeah, no, TQ's with catching a little bit of a bid. Back into VWAP is Robinhood. Let's take a look at that one. MSTR. Look at that muscle memory. As soon as I type in MS, FT is the next thing that I type in there. But yeah, 300 reject potentially, 299.22 MSTR day highs, kind of stepping down here. Did clip that pre-market low, and wow, what a beautiful reversion off of that failure to follow through. It takes you all the way back up to VWAP there. That's a nice one. Yeah, no, kind of let's see if that's those sellers kind of step right back in. You can see that. Let's see again. You know, sometimes you gotta keep it as simple simple as possible here. Yeah, no, this kind of trend break here, pretty beautiful. So let's see if that comes in. VWAP consolidation potential. Or let's see if sellers just step in at a lower high, right? If this trend indicator doesn't necessarily have to work. It's just if I'm using a trend line to indicate a trend, technically that's broken. But if I'm using structure where I'm saying lower highs and lower lows, this can get all the way up to 295s, 296s before making a lower high and continuing to the downside, keeping that downtrend intact. So it's like what I'm starting to realize is like how you really define the trend and then how you take actions there. So there are going to be players that are defining trend like this, and guess what? They're probably stopping out here. If there are players that are defining trend with a higher time frame moving average, they might be not stopping out till a little bit higher. So it's like, yeah, you got to keep in mind all the indicators that are working, that are not working, who's using them, and have they been being respected, and when did those players get like offside, right? That I think that kind of action always sustains in the market, regardless of where the VIX is at, regardless of what kind of regime we might be trading in. Always trying to find the offside, the short-term player offside for the scalps, right? Sure, that's just this kind of play style, but yeah, always trying to look for the offside there on the short-term moves. Let's see what Adara has to say.
Keep an eye here on the market. Howard Lutnick, who is the U.S. Commerce Secretary, saying that there is no chance Trump will back off on tariffs in a CNN interview. He also said that Trump will negotiate only if other countries are willing to fix their tariff and non-tariff barriers. So we have Howard Lutnick right now doing a CNN interview and making it very clear that Donald Trump is taking a hard stance on these tariffs and he will not be backing down. A little bit of volatility here in the NASDAQ and in the overall market on this catalyst. Guys, back to you.
Like, there are your indicators at certain times.
Yeah, so Obi and I were just, I like that Obi pointed this out because we look at this every day, right? And AI Rex, I appreciate all the nice words in there because that's what we're trying to do. But when you see this signal across multiple underlyings, especially the Mag 7, use that for high conviction, right? That's why I was in on the TQs and that's why I was in on Google. All right, so you can see this print right here on Google. Really, really nice bottoming print there on Google. And then we're gonna go on to Amazon as well. I wish I'd seen this one a little bit, Obi, because this one's even more, I think, what time frame did you have that on? 3 minute, right?
Yeah, I tend to use a 3 minute.
3 minute? Okay.
Again, I use multiple frames.
Yeah, I usually stick to the 1 and the 5, but again, a nice bottoming signal here, just to keep things simple, right? But we had multiple of those signals across the board in the Mag 7, and then we get that nice rally to the top side. So yeah, it sucks to not be a part of Google and TQs anymore because we did grab that bottom really, really well, and then this would have just put us green on the day, but that shoulda, coulda, woulda, and that's not what we're here to have. We're not about those if, ands, or maybes, all right? We only do certainties around here. So that's the unfortunate thing. It is what it is. We bite the bullet, and then we just be prepared to take some next trades. I like the way that Apple's setting up. We'll pull up the TQs as we continue to grind, and I just continuously pour some more salt in the wounds. That's okay, because I think we can tough it out. But again, really nice trade up into the 52. I told my guy Gorev that we were looking for 52 here, so that came into play. But my issue here, Obi, with Apple is that it broke out at some point throughout the session, and then it gave back everything, started selling with the overall market, but now is hovering below the volume-weighted average price. And as we start to recover here, wow, Obi, that recovery off the bottom on Amazon is absolutely amazing. Yeah,
I just gotta follow my rules, follow my signals.
Just take it, yeah.
Just take the trade.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's right there in front. There's nothing else like a trade that falls into your lap and you're just like,
and you're deer in the
right?
headlights.
And it's like, no, not necessarily. It's just like that happens like a lot, but it's just like when it happens, you have to take it, right? It's just like
when it displays itself.
If you're able to recognize it and you're like, this is probably going to be pretty decent.
Yeah,
and you start thinking about, maybe I want to protect P&L, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to wait for a better opportunity, It's 20, 30 pennies, maybe even a point away from where your ideal entry was, and then you're just like, all right, well, is it really worth it here? That kind of hesitation's not very conducive. You got to be on the ball. You got to be locked in. You got to be like opportunity, bang, right there. Another one, let's go. Another one, let's go.
Oh, that's the 15-minute OB that you have up there.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's the thing. Same. All different.
So there you go.
Right?
He's seen it on the.
I saw it on the 15. I have it up here on shorter time frames as well. I saw it on shorter time frames, and then I saw it on a 3-minute and 15-minute as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, good look there, man. Yeah, the TQ's just rubbing it in here. Really nice look here on the TQs. Unfortunately, we're still not holding on to this position because I would have just flipped the day right around. Yeah, Meta's starting to climb higher as well, too, guys. So these big names starting to drag the market back up with it, and that's what you want to see, right? So, Apple, no.
You want to see?
Okay, yeah, Apple just kind of departed without us there, OB. So a nice breakthrough. The movie departed. The nice breakthrough 205 here, and I was looking to get into that. So European markets closed. What's time to start getting some TQ short on? I don't know just yet. Do you want to be fighting this trend to the top side as we start to bounce? I don't think so, right? So you want to be a little bit more patient. Again, we missed this 205 entry on Apple. The reason why I didn't get in it a little bit earlier is because the risk profile was too far for me, right? I don't want to be buying at the top of this resistance, and then essentially I'm not wrong until we break through. So that's over $1 of risk that you need to put in here on AAPL in order to rightfully put on this trade, in my opinion. You don't want to have it in the middle of the range because the stocks are fluctuating and the VIX is up. So what does that mean? There's more volatility in the market. So you get the ebbs and flows coming in a little bit deeper. So you got to be really, really wary. And on that breakout, that volume stepped in beautifully and it worked out. But there we go. TQs being the missed trade of the day, unfortunately, Obi. But it is what it is. We'll be a little bit more cautious and weary of what we got going on here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just watching this this bit of a curl here on Micron as well. If you check out Micron, the 15-minute chart, we just talked about it being so aggressively sold off. We're catching a little bit of a turn here again. So a game plan might be entering in and around here, risking to that day low, thinking that again maybe reversion to VWAP, maybe reversion to prior structure here, maybe $80 is interesting for a 50% reversion there. We've already kind of reverted a bit of a chunk here. And yeah, you can just remember we talked about yesterday, kind of simple rules on specific ideas. I think a simple rule can just be, okay, look, this is the trend to the downside. When it breaks, do I see anything in here that kind of tells me that I can potentially risk over here? There goes the TQs back into VWAP here. I got to keep an eye on that one as well. I got stopped out of my Walmart here as it came right back in. But again, I was risking a little bit tight there. It is holding that prior low as of right now. So maybe potentially giving me a chance to re-engage in the long here. Risk still down to that, what is that low right there? I got to take all of these off here. That low is 87.85 right there. So 87.85, yeah, okay, it's marked with the low. So 87.85 is that prior low. We're holding currently 88.08s here on Walmart. So let's see if we get more of that consolidation. But on the TQs, I want to see if we see more sellers here as we visit this VWAP. So you can see here, P-Pro VWAP a little bit lower than my other VWAP here. So that's a little bit further away, 52.64 there. Now this VWAP kind of, it has only the BATS gate data. And it also takes the VWAP from the 4 a.m. open. P-Pro doesn't necessarily do that. You can see the data kind of coming in at 6 a.m. So not really too big of a difference, but again, if you're looking to risk, a few pennies here, like something on TQs, or maybe even 10 pennies, that could make a difference, right? The VWAP here is at 52.35s. On the P-Pro, and then 52.64s here. So almost a 31 penny difference there on those two VWAPs. So again, keeping into consideration, I know that this one's a little bit higher than this one, but the area is what matters, right? It's not necessarily a specific price, it's the area of the VWAP. So let's see if sellers come in a little bit here on this VWAP test. TQs to the upside as well. TSM, Micron. Okay, so what am I looking for on Micron? I got Micron up right here as well. I want to see buyers kind of step up. They've already kind of stepped up here. Again, let's throw the same kind of line I had. So this same indicator, if you want to call it, just a line on the chart. Here from the opening range high, just to, as the day goes on, this kind of changes, this changes, and then you see that finally kind of sustains a little bit of this. So right here, I would say that this is a little bit of the trend I want to keep an eye on, and then this little pullback right here, what is that low, is at 77.02s, currently trading at 77.7s. So let's see if Micron trades up to VWAP 79.50s. Again, what time is it? It's 11:43. So I don't know if I really want to take a reversion. It can very well work. It can go right to VWAP, or it can just not do anything. It can do something that I'm not really looking for as well. So I got to keep that in mind as we kind of go. So TQs, what is your high right there? It's at 50s. So you know what, I kind of want to start dabbling here as the TQs pull back off of its VWAP as well. Again, 52.64s. So maybe I'll be a little bit patient. Let's wait for some of this candle to finish printing. Maybe we do get to the 64s, but P-Pro VWAP right here, catching a little bit of a selling. But again, a little bit of a pit stop in and around VWAP I can expect. I want to see some significant things in the consolidation that's happening here in and around VWAP for me to potentially get involved and put some risk on. That prior high is at 52.79 here. This high right here, I'm looking at 52.79 right there. So trading at 52.30s once again. Let's see if those sellers kind of step back into the market. Right here, when we're looking at the NASDAQ, we're trading above 18.9. So maybe potentially I want to see a lower highs relative to this prior high right there at 18.6 and change. And obviously these wick highs off of the morning session are all the way up above 19,050, just shy of that 100 mark right there. So maybe some selling coming in here. I do want to start to take a little bit of a dabble, giving it up to said highs there. So let's see, first sign of sellers in and around that VWAP, just underneath that prior level. Again, aggressive selling coming in and around here. Let's see if those sellers step right back in. Again, I don't have nearly enough of what I should have here, but I'm looking to add a little bit more. If we do, I do want to give it all the way up to 5260s, 5270s as well to get into the full size. But if this works, then that is what we have there, and that's what I'm willing to accept. Let's see if that 52 comes back in. Sellers are coming right back in, but let's see if they continue to hold here. Or do we just chop around and do more of nothing? I don't know. Let's see. That reversion to VWAP was absolutely beautiful, though.
It was, yeah, it definitely was that, man. It's unfortunate we weren't a part of it, but that's okay. Nice pullback here, nice indecision print right at the volume weighted average price as well, too, there, guys. So keep that in mind. Sorry, I'll sit up straight here to make sure. Sorry, Joe Sargent. But yeah, again, nice little short off the top, but I do believe that this trend is still fully intact, and that we might have put in somewhat of a reversal today. I mean, Apple's down 8%. That is not good whatsoever. And I think that's slightly oversold. So, yeah, 8%. Wow, that is crazy. But like, hey, this could be a good opportunity for a bounce play. You know, the street doesn't want to be out of the money for too long on these names. So, yeah, maybe we'll look to change that up, but that is not a good look whatsoever here on AAPL. So yeah, time to do some adjusting in the long term. I think sitting on some cash right now. I don't think that this bear market, well, I guess we're starting to head towards that, because if we take a look at Apple to see how much we're down from the peak to the trough here, Obi,
yeah,
it's not looking good. So yeah, go from that current high all the way to where we're sitting at 20%. All right, and then I'm pretty sure Amazon gap down a little bit more further as well. But we like these signals, guys. So this could be a good potential bounce play. We'll be patient, grab some more options. But now we're probably south of 30%. South of 30% here. I guess north 26%. All right, so we're right back to some April of 24 levels there. So yeah, a whole year just evaporated in a couple of months. But we can classify some of this maybe as overbought. But yeah, back-to-back 20% years, not so much anymore here, guys, because we have now given back a lot of the returns that we have. So again, back to some June and July levels in the SPY. So again, when did we start? So I guess we can say we started to recover in August, and then we peaked up in February. All right, and then we just give it back in a couple of months. So there you go, all the way from August up until February. Those gains have been wiped right out there, guys. So yeah, that's the game plan. Going to continue to be a little bit patient. I do like that Tesla is hovering below the volume weighted average price. This gives me an opportunity to possibly hop in. Obi and I were talking yesterday how it was strong and it was continuously holding strong, especially on delivery numbers that were extremely lackluster in my opinion. So I don't know what the holdup was, but I guess investors and traders like the fact that that Elon himself was going to be coming out of Doge. He's done with that, whatever stint that was, whatever political movement. Didn't work out for him, unfortunately, because you could see how it reflected the stock prices. People started boycotting his dealerships, etc. So let's see if that will hold up. But now he's starting to focus back in on Tesla. That can be a positive signal. So we'll be patient here, guys, on Tesla to see if we're going to break through the volume weighted average price, and then that way we can take a potential long. All right, Derek, Okie State, Bakley, Joe. I bought a few Coinbase 182.5 calls expiration the 17th of April. I got them at the low of the day 185. Do you see a level that Coinbase will have issues moving above? Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Let's take a look at Coinbase's options chain. You only have a couple weeks on those, my friend. So you're in on the 82.5s at 85. So you already bought them in the money. Let's take a look here what we got going on that expiration cycle. Again, nothing crazy. I see, yeah, that's the thing, right? There's not too much open interest north of 180. The next level is going to be at that additional whole dollar, that 190 level, which is another, it's not even 2,000 open contracts there, guys. But the highest level of OI on that April 17th expiration cycle is 3,300 contracts at that $200 strike price. Is that going to be enough to attract it to those levels? I don't know, maybe. I think it's, see, and I like that you asked that question there. Derek, okay, say 165 and you bought the 82s. Sorry, if I bought Coinbase 182.5 call expiration, got them at the low day. 165 is what you meant to say. Sorry, you have 185 in there. So I'll pull up Coinbase for you too. So you did buy those out the money. Hopefully you get that nice bounce here. 162 was the low of the day. Hopefully you got them right at the low. So otherwise you'd be doing pretty good right now, just collecting extrinsic value, pure time value on those contracts as of right now. And if you can climb higher, you don't have too much time to get to 182.5s, right? I guess you got a couple of weeks. If that bounce comes into play, you can most definitely get it. But if you're collecting some, like 20, 30, 40, 50% of extrinsic value on those contracts, then you can just hop out before you even get to that at the money strike, and then you can collect money that way, because that's exactly essentially what I did with those Amazon calls there, Obi. So yeah, Tesla not wanting to break through VWAP, which is a positive sign as the market starts to pull in a little bit here. A nice short signal on the TQs right at the volume weighted average price there, Obi. Talking about taking advantage of certain trades. Didn't take that one. It was literally,
nice.
it was really teed up on the 1 minute right at VWAP. And then now you see we're starting to pull back in here. So Tesla not participating on that rally, but we'll be more patient because we might get a bounce here.
Yeah, so that short comment, it didn't really give me a chance to get in more. Like, I got in and it just instantly went. And I didn't have enough, didn't take the full size, but that's fine. I'm just like, all right, well, this is what I'm dealing with now. Like I said, another thing that I'm really working on is just acceptance, right? It's like, I need to be able to accept the situation, because when I don't accept things, that's one of my biggest triggers for tilt. When I'm unable to accept the situation and kind of move forward and have a clear mind to move on to the next trade, right? It's okay, cool. You caught 50, or you caught, forget about how many pennies, but you caught like 20% ATR, 15, 20% ATR on the ticker right away, instantly as soon as I got in. I think that's reason enough to take some off and be like, all right, cool. I might not have sized appropriately for that, but where is the next trade? The next trade, I'm trying my best not to kind of be like, all right, get too anchored to the point that I didn't take enough right there. Wow, some sellers on the ask there get taken out 51.70. So yeah, a little bit of a reversion, right? I'm like, all right, so what am I watching? We walked through this. I kind of walked through why I might be potentially looking for one. I wanted to add more if it actually got up to VWAP, but again, it got up to my pre-pro VWAP. It got up to where sellers kind of came in a little bit earlier as well. I was watching it, but yeah, nice little quick scalp there. 30, 40 pennies. I don't even know what. I'm just looking at the chart right now. Yeah, 45 pennies as of right now. But in terms of ATR, I got to pull up my sizing calculator here. That's what I was doing earlier, because I have that open back at my desk, and that kind of keeps me in check in terms of like how much sizing I should be using on the trade. So TQs here, at the very least, yeah, okay. I was 3 times less than what I should be in, even on the initial trade there. So it's like, all right, so just punching into whatever. Quick maths. Never really my strong suit, but again, executions a little bit more there when I am following my rules. But yeah, let's see what TQs has to offer. If we do bid back above this 52, I think I'm going to be a little bit patient. We're still on our way to VWAP. I expected a little bit of supply at the VWAP, and it did show up. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got what I wanted. I was instantly kind of given a lot of the move that I wanted. So let's see if it gives us another chance, maybe potentially, or we just kind of bid up back above that 52.50 and I don't get another chance at all. But let's see what this market has to offer. This bid coming right back in. Some strong volume here as well. I'm watching some shorter time frames as well. Some strong volume on this low right here on the TQs. Wow, okay, check out that bid coming right back in. So let's see if we can get back up to VWAP here. Maybe we make a potential lower high. Let's see if sellers kind of show us who's in charge here. Coming into the middle of the day, about 6 minutes, almost about roughly 5 minutes there until 12 o'clock. And TQs continue to catch a little bit of a bid here. That was a nice pullback, though. Quick scalps, I like those.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I see. That's the thing. I was a little bit hesitant here, Obi, waiting for a little bit better of a price here. I should have got in right at that 9.95 on the TSLA as we go to break up through the volume weighted average price here, guys, because I do like the potential pattern forming here on Tesla for that break higher. Now the issue is I got to give it about 80 to 85, so that's 15, 17 cents of risk right there, guys. And I wanted to put on a little bit more shares, so I'm going to do so. I'm going to hop in here. I'm buying at the top top. It may not be good, but I'm just going to give it 10 cents. So that's not going to be too much. I had to go significantly smaller just because I am buying the top of the range here. So yeah, that's unfortunate. If I was a little bit quicker on the trigger, then I would have got that price that I wanted to, and then I could have scaled in significantly better as we run into the top. But now you can see that we are running into some resistance zones here right at 10.05 there, Obi. If we can break through as the market continues to rally, that will be a good sign overall. But one thing to note on the 5-minute time frame, as I'm looking at the 5-minute on my specific chart, one thing that is not a good signal is this. Stair step down. All right, so that is not what you want to see in breakout volume. You really want to see the participants step right in and push us through some of these zones here, guys. So yeah, that's what that is. Be a little bit more patient or a little quicker on the trigger too when you're being prepared for things. So yeah, it's okay. We'll wait if it climbs higher. If the market wants to continue, then we will do so. I know Obi's short the TQs right now. Yeah, so
I'm out of most of it.
You're out of the majority of it.
Yeah, I'm out of over 80% of it.
Okay.
Into those lows. I'm just watching to see if I can re-engage at VWAP. Again, at this point, I know I'm counter trending it. So it's like, all right, with the bid step right back in. That's not necessarily a reversion trade. That's a quick counter trend scalp there. And let's see if it does turn into a reversion here. If more supply does come in and around VWAP. That's what I'm looking for. That could not be the case as well. And if that's not the case, then I should not really get involved. Oh boy, there goes Amazon to the upside here. So yeah, this TQs, I might need to get out of this one here. I think because even though regardless of how much I have, I got to make that decision. Being like, all right, the probability of us going a little bit higher just shot up there. Look at that Amazon here, 182.20s here, prior high coming in at 183 is just shy of 183. Let's see what that specifically is. 182.95, so only about 70 pennies-ish away from that prior high there, and 184.11s is the intraday high. Sure, we've made some more highs in the pre-market session, but again, we kind of broke this. Again, if you draw a little bit of a trend line right there, we're kind of chopping around. We chop around there. It looks like this is what I mean, right? Players that are using kind of this right here, maybe you're adding for the continuation, and then look who's stopping out. Anybody who's using this much higher time frame. Again, this shows up on the 15-minute, this shows up on the 30-minute, right? So it's like, all right, if higher time frame players are using some of these levels here, who becomes offside is always a question that I want to ask myself there. So yeah. Interesting stuff here. Yeah, I think we're poised for
all right, Obi. We're starting to get the ball rolling here on Oh Boy. We'll hit the not going to hit the sirens just yet, but we'll hit the sirens there. We're going to add to this position there, Obi. As we're starting to climb higher, we got to try to make this trade as big as possible here. So starting to get the ball rolling on TSLA. And you know what? To be honest with you, I wasn't even looking at it. So it's funny. I was taking some more stabs on Tesla, and I'm like, okay, so my morning accuracy wasn't that good, but I had 2 solid trades that just put me right back in the game, and we're very much alive as the market looks like it wants to continue to climb higher and higher. I think this is going to be a really, really pivotal moment here on Tesla. As you can see, we are running into that V-shaped base right now, Obi. Can we get past this resistance zone here that we got displayed? I think that's going to be really important, and if we can climb through the volume-weighted average price, then I think we'll be sitting pretty good. So yeah, not good on that pullback. Another short signal on the Qs there, Obi. Yep, as some of these big names, you're back in it again.
I took more, a little bit more.
Okay, you took a little bit more. So yeah, another good short signal there. So that's got me a little bit weary. But if we blow past that, then I think we'll be okay. If Tesla can keep it up and the volume starts to step in, it has been lagging on the recovery, but with the Qs coming back in, that is not a good sign whatsoever. So we'll be a little bit more patient. You can tell that we are being slightly aggressive on this one. So now I have to kind of give my stop a little bit tighter and lift it up and trail it here. So I'm going to be out around 995s on this one. So that's a little bit more than what I would like to risk there on this trade, but that's okay because considering the amount of size that I have on here, Obi. So got to be really, really patient on this trade. We're going to be patient on this trade, guys, but it is happening now with the Dara, and then we're getting into Neil's lesson of the day, guys.
Here's the market. We're still down about 4% here on the NASDAQ. A little bit of a downtrend still in the 15-minute chart, though trying to bounce a bit off of these lows made around 11 a.m. Then we have the S&P 500. Let's pull up the SPY and see how that one's doing. Down about 3%, looking maybe a little bit more buoyant than the NASDAQ today. We've had some comments here from Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney saying that Canada is going to keep their existing retaliatory tariffs in place, and they would react, quote, energetically to any new U.S. tariffs placed against Canada. Keep an eye on a lot of these retail names. We know Walmart's been on watch, Nike's been on watch, Lululemon here as well. Bit of a rounded bottom, but still quite significantly down on the day. We closed yesterday here around that 280s level. Low of day today, where we opened around that 243. So keep an eye on these consumer names. Also, brand new infographic. It is not yet premiered on X, but keep an eye out for this one. This is the daily schedule of President Donald Trump. This seems to be released basically the day of. So we'll have to be updating these every day, but keep an eye on this. I will be posting this on X shortly. Back to you. Oh, back to Neil, sorry.
That's all right, Adara. Lesson of the day today. Well, what do you do if you're, look, I could go over what happened in the morning. Like pretty much everything went to plan. Patience worked out, reversions worked out on shorting the pops, anything that didn't trigger, you know, it was good to stay away from some mistakes. But I think on a day like today, you know, you look at some of the lower hanging fruit, and that's what I want to get to because, yeah, there were great reversions and great short the pop situations. But when I look back and look at on a morning like this where everyone was panicking, and you can see I'm looking at RH, obviously, like what were the things that were maybe gigantic but weren't on the radar, and were there easy ways to get into them? Now, obviously, RH reported last night, so strike one, because they did a few things here. One, which was run the top, trap people long, then break down. Strike two would be that the market gapped down because of bad news with the tariffs coming in. Strike three in this particular case is they happen to be in a group that if you have an economic downturn, it's not good for them either. So you had pretty much everything going wrong with this, and it was trending down going into the open. So pretty much, it's like the trifecta of bad news. But the two things I want to get at here are, one, every now and then on a relatively thinly traded stock, especially in the pre-market, you might see something which gives you a very big hint. And I don't know if I can zoom in. You guys can probably see this pretty well. Have a look-see at what happened here at about 171.5. All of a sudden, it just started going sideways into what clearly was a brick wall of resistance at about 171.5. So you know, maybe on not huge volume, there's sellers above on RH. So with that in mind, and it's got the three strikes on it that you can think about, knowing there's a lot of potential for downside, in trouble, at the open, you've already broken pre-market lows. So you've got a brick wall, whether it's an iceberg or not, it doesn't really matter. Helps if it is one. You've already broken down and trending going into the open. It then retests that prior low. I mean, come on. Retest the prior low, and right at the open, it fails it. There are multiple setups you can have here. You can have the break of the pre-market low again. You could essentially just get short in off of the open, breaking the prior bar, giving it to here. You could have a larger scale long day swing where you're taking that and you're giving it to the top. The point being, and the other thing I didn't point out, you're also breaking 52-week lows as well, so maybe 4 strikes against it. And then obviously this one flushed maybe a little bit more than the average stock. Right? Like any of those trades that you take, you're talking 15, 20 dollar moves in there, and percentage-wise, same thing. But it wasn't the only retail name out there that you could have looked at. And I would make an argument that the next two were even better. Because what Kohl's had going for it, and much like retail under pressure, bad-looking chart, already breaking down, no questions asked, it's got a flat bottom on the daily, right in here. And this one's, to me, this one's the crazier one. And the reason why this is a lesson. Low-hanging fruit, anything in retail, everybody. There's your flat bottom, $8 was support on the daily chart. What do we look at when we see it going into the open? It's holding underneath that $8 level with resistance at 8, and you've got a very clear iceberg, this time holding the bid. This is the one, I think when you're looking over, if you're trying to plan like a short trade in the retail space, I understand Restoration Hardware was fantastic if you took RH. But this holding that bid is a straight, flat-out, flat-bottom break with a stop at that $8, the prior low. That's an easy as a structured trade as you're going to find, where it's a simple standard break of the low of the day at the open, stop gets placed at first resistance, happens to be a prior support level on the daily and a 52-week low. You got everything going for you on that short. And as you can see, this doesn't even, if you slap a trend line, it doesn't revert trend until it's made a bottom at 6:30. We're talking about a monster risk to reward trade that you get to hold for the entire morning in the right space. And I was looking at Nike. Nike was a good trade. Both of these were, hey, how can we do it a little bit better the next time we see something like this? Kohl's is a great example, I think, of that. I mean, another one adjacent to that, I mean, Kohl's was fantastic. Under Armour set up in a very similar way. Just to show you guys another chart of, and again, same theme. In the space where you're breaking down, everyone's thinking retail's going to get the worst of it. You've got 52-week lows and the bottom already there for you to break it down on the daily. You have what obviously was a level holding at $6 at one point. You bounce off a pre-market low, you resist $6, you break the bottom, you trend all the way down into the middle of the day. What these all have in common is they were in the sector that was under the most pressure. They were all losing the absolute bottom, so therefore maybe more stops to be triggered. They had very simplistic setups that showed up where buyers and sellers were in the pre-market, so you didn't have to do a heck of a lot of guesswork as to what your levels were going to be. You didn't have to worry about it breaking out those highs and then finding a short to pop situation. So they were very simplistic, go with the trend ideas. Now, ultimately, hey, if you were shorting most of anything, lots of levels and setups worked really well today. I'm not here to tell you it wasn't that kind of a day. But it's always about what could you have done, where could you have been better, what plays might you have missed, and what did the market teach you today? And what it actually taught me today was some of these setups that I ignored were much more low-hanging fruit. You can make an argument about the Walmart breakout long or a Costco breakout long the same way these were short. So lesson of the day here, on a day where everyone's panicking, sometimes have a look at where they're panicking the most and see if you can't find the most simple setup to go with the trend. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Yep, thank you for that, as always, Neil. Guys, you can see here on Tesla, we had these levels marked out, and now we're rejecting them fairly aggressively here. So running into some resistance as the market looks like it wants to pull in. So a lot of selling pressure on some of these candles here, Obi. You can see also that I added slightly aggressively at the break of the volume-weighted average price. So let's see if we can get that continuation and pop. That would be really, really nice. We're going to try to hold this until, I don't think we're going to get the high day. But again, let's see if we can run into 1037, 1048, roughly there, Obi. So yeah, that's my game plan. So we're going to try to be a little bit more patient and see if we can continue this nice recovery here in the markets, even though we are still drastically down on some of these big names. My guy, Obi, what do you got going on there, brother?
Nothing much, man. I'm watching this TQ. So I got out of that scalp. I was like, it kind of bid right back up. And at this point, I was like, if it's going to chop around here, I might as well, there's no reason for me to stay in the trade. If it's going to consolidate, I'm going to let it consolidate and then maybe get back to it a little bit later here. But it is kind of slowing down, chopping around VWAP. That's a little expected, right? We did get back up. We did get up to a high of 58. VWAP became 62s there. That's pretty much close enough there. But I do want to see a little bit more pop action here. Again, now kind of looking at a little bit of that right there. Let's see if this kind of holds and consolidates, pushes back above that VWAP to see if we get that continuation back towards some of these highs. That prior high, again, sitting right at that 52.77 here on the TQs. I'm watching Amazon as well. Amazon right here, and MZN. There you go. That's the one. Nice little strong bid up into past that VWAP right there. The high is 182.41. Prior high 182.95. So again, a lot of these tickers looking somewhat similar here. So I'm trying to figure out which is the best vehicle to kind of exercise some of these ideas here, as it is a little bit of a market move here. So that's why I got TQs on watch. I got some of the Mag 7 on watch as well. Let me know in the chat what you guys are watching. Tesla, red to green, saying shadow wrap. let's take a quick look at Tesla right here. So opening price, yeah, okay, yeah, we went, but here's the thing, man. We went green to red, and then now maybe back to green here on the day. So pretty much a sideways chop, but strong legs either way, giving you that opportunity to get involved for the long side and the short side. And then once again, the long side as we false break kind of those prior pre-market lows, opening range lows as well. Sure, if you want to call, what drop? This is a 3 or 4 point drop below that pre-market low, but it was a bit of a false break, right? Price tried to get a little bit lower. It couldn't really travel that much further past it, and then it reverts that kind of move, making it a little bit of a failure to follow through. Micron I had eyes on here as well for a potential reversion. Take a look at that. That's coming right back in here. So yeah, questioning this prior low, maybe potentially coming in to contest that prior low, 76.47 here, currently trading at 77s on Micron. So the reversion, a bit of a dead cat happening on Micron here. Looking distinctly different is TSM. Look at the sideways chop here. So yeah, it hasn't really gone anywhere, hasn't really bid up like crazy or continued to the downside. We are technically making lower highs and lower lows, but relatively sideways here, a bit of an orbit around VWAP as of right now. SMCI, I know a lot of people keep their eyes on this one as well, so do I. But yeah, we got that nice little pop into some of that pre-market stuff, pre-market prices, and those after-hour lows as well. So gets a little stuffed in and around that 33 mark for a pullback down towards day lows. Day lows currently at 31.53s here, currently trading 52s. Prior low as well, 31.82, so just shy of that 32. We're making lower highs, kind of building back into some of these day lows here on SMCI. Again, you got to keep an eye on NVIDIA as well if you're looking at some of these chips. Strong flush here on the trend break. So I was watching this one, but didn't really get involved. These are 3-minute candles, so you can see a little bit of a clean kind of a trend break happens here, and then once again here as well for a clean break. Look at that acceleration, expanding volume, increasing volume into the flush, and then you get that little bit of a low at 102.01. Still hasn't got back up to its VWAP. We were talking about this one potentially getting into its VWAP there at 104.09s. It's still kind of consolidating here. It's a little bit sideways, 103.70s currently, and the TQ is poised for a little bit higher. Amazon poised for a little bit higher here as well. The NASDAQ held that to 18.9, so we're bidding right back above that. So let's see if we get that continuation. 19,000 is the next level that I have on watch. Can we get back up there if the TQs are going to hold? Let's take a quick look at where VWAP is on the TQs as well. I think we are consolidating on top of that on my P Pro, but still underneath here on the trading view. So yeah, let's see what we do with this prior horizontal level here at that 79, 52.79s potentially coming in. We keep knocking on the door of this VWAP here. So I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to stay a little bit weary of price action here. Again, with the VIX being as high as it is, where is it at though? 26.97 as of right now, so still kind of holding within its day's range right here. Dollar Club, Sean is blasting as soon as he takes a seat. What position is that one there? He can't even hear me. He can't even hear me. He's locked in. He's locked in. Right here. Let's go. Let's go right there. I love the hat there. That's the Hive hat, right? Robin Hood. Okay. All right. Let's go. 37.60 long. Let's go. 37.60s. Boom, boom, boom. Lil Wayne. Let's go. Lil Wayne. What are you listening to? Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne what? Oh, nice. Yes, I like that. Yeah, I'm a big Lil Wayne fan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got today's the day to lock in. Yes, sir. That is for sure. Market bidding a little bit higher. So I'm glad I got out of the short there at VWAP. That did not work. We saw it coming in, still holding that trend. So I'm like, all right, this is poised for a little bit higher. The long is definitely not wrong as of right now. We saw that turn. Joe talked about that turn potential signal, that buy signal, whatever it was. The buying definitely came in a very distinctly different way. And you might have had some confluence there across the board for that bid back up into VWAP. So again, missed trade on my part, but I take the reversion. Didn't really come in. Doesn't really give me a chance to size in. So that's fine. You know, again, acceptance. Got to be good with acceptance. It doesn't give you a chance to size in, so you cannot force said size into it, forcing your trade. So again, trying to just say these things out loud, so because I know that I don't do well at those things sometimes. So trying to manifest that into my trading. So you know.
Yeah. Good luck. I mean. Yeah, tough here. Started to continue to climb higher here. Aggressive ads, and I took 25% off here, and then I just cut that trade slightly too early. As we continue to climb higher, there would have been a really, really nice trade here on TSLA there, guys. So yeah, unfortunately, down 8% here on the day, but that's all right. There's going to be more opportunities. NVIDIA is lagging its peers as Tesla continues to climb higher. Google's still knocking on the head of resistance. I know someone in the chat said, hey, BA, nice bottoming signal. Unfortunately, that plane has already departed, so I'm not going to try to chase that one there into the blue skies as it is continuing to climb higher. Yeah, gaining some altitude there is BA. So yeah, I don't want to chase it all the way up here, guys. Yeah, NVIDIA I like. So we'll be slightly more patient on that one. Could have got the bottom of the range, but yeah, another ball dropped by your boy here, so that's okay.
Is that a
GQs, again, we missed out on that. Stellar long, just an absolute mistake here. And then on Google as well, too, being one of the nicer trades here. So again, we missed that one. So yeah.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
So there you go.
I love that hat. I love that hat. That's an awesome. He was saying Elon wore this. Oh, double hat. No, we gotta put him back on. Look at that double hat. Let's go. That's awesome. Yeah. Hat squared right there. Nice. Oh, what? Maybe someone cut the cheese? Don't cut the cheese. Okay, yeah. Oh boy. All right. All right. So back to these markets. We haven't really gone too far, but we're holding higher highs and higher lows relatively here. So I'm being patient. I'm waiting. Do I have a position on? I do not have a position on. So where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking for. And Nick W. with the super chat here saying, Obi, I took a long into CYBR for a swing to 260. Do you mean 360? Because it's trading at 333s right now. Stop loss just below a recent low of 321. 3-to-1 risk reward. Thoughts? Well, I don't know. I'm not really, you know. We can talk about what I think about the chart. Yeah, we can talk about my thoughts, but remember, at the end of the day, they're just my opinion, just my thoughts. They mean absolutely diddly squat. So just keep with that in mind. Let's take a quick look. I love looking at charts, man. So Cyber 3 hours. So I did pull up the 3 hours. Again, strong trend here. So this thing's been running up, but I did take a look at the daily volume here. Average daily volume, not so much. So yeah, definitely maybe more on the swing side there. And if you're saying that you took a swing from 260s, oh boy, that's we haven't seen those prices since last November there. Yes, okay, 360. Okay, yes, thank you, Bears versus Bulls. So 360. So you bought up here, and the stop loss is down here. Yeah, so it is kind of it's been kind of trending down, right? So it's like a higher time frame trend. Yes, it is to the upside, but buying has significantly kind of slowed down here. You look at that volume that kind of makes that top. I don't really have this charted, but you can just kind of simply like how are we can define trends with a bit of a trend line as well, right? You can see that trend kind of coming in there, maybe a little bit of a trend acceleration through here as well, and then maybe some more as well. So that's how I would kind of look at this here on the chart. If I can just boom and another one. So it's like trend acceleration with increasing volume there. So you can see that boom, boom, boom. We kind of accelerated to the upside as that bid sped up with some expanding volume. We did a lot of volume near that 424, and then we kind of start to see like look breakdown, retest. So we're kind of going sideways here as of right now. But I think within range, like 306 is at the end of the day. That's the thing, right? If your stop out is here, you stop out. If you still like the idea for the long, are you able to re-engage at other levels where you potentially might find a bid? But you can see that look support, acceleration, maybe potentially turning into resistance on the trend basis, right? But if you throw on a moving average, a wider moving average here, I'm sure this is potentially above the 200 MA. I got to check. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one there. But yeah, that's what that's what I see here on CYBR. Did we get a call for?
Yeah, we got an ad read here, my guy. Yes, Foremost, unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy, leveraging one of the biggest megatrends on the planet, nuclear energy. Partnered with Denison Mines with properties strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear renaissance. Market and offer unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear. Foremost is your entry on the NASDAQ under FMST and on the CSE under FAT, or go to Foremost Clean Energy for details. There it is, guys. You can scan that QR code right there and get yourself some Foremost. So undervalued. So that's a good sign if you want to start buying into some potential dips. Yeah, we're going to take a long on NVDA here. OBC, if we can get the participation. Again, nice move here on Tesla. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one, but that's okay. I think NVDA might start to get the ball rolling here. It may take some time. Hopefully, this resistance zone can act as support now, so we'll hold until there. And then if we go back into the middle of the range, we can always just get a better price here. So, but one thing to note again, OB, is that we're not, NVDA wasn't necessarily participating with that rally. But one thing that I will say from a positive standpoint is that look how long we were consolidating before we broke down, right? But even though that breakdown was hefty, it was holding up strong as the rest of the market was continuously selling. So that could be a positive signal. Let's see if we can break through. There is some key support levels here now acting as resistance. If we can punch through that 104 level, be steady, and you see that volume start to pick up on the buy side as well too, guys, on the lower time frame, which is a positive signal. And as we start to pull back, it's starting to dwindle. And we know with NVDA, it takes a long time to get the ball really moving on this name. So let's see if we can start to recover. Still down 5.8% on the session here, OB.
Yeah, so I think like that bid is coming in real hot. We kind of talk about the TQs pushing back up into those 5270s. Look at that. We're coming right into that 19,000. I was like, okay, can we get to that 19,000? And it seems like we are getting to that 19,000 here on the NASDAQ here. TQs pushing up into that 53 level. I got eyes on, man. Things are starting to accelerate. Maybe we do make it all the way back up to highs. And we definitely missed out on the long there. Tried some shorts there at VWAP. Didn't really work out. Took some scalps off. Let's see. Where is the next trade? Yeah, I'm looking for the potential short here. But these bids are coming in real hot here. 19,000 might be a little bit of a level. But what do I know? I haven't really seen anything just yet. All I'm seeing is that we've bounced off of some significant potential areas there on a few names, not just the futures there. So if the bid is going to come in off of this level and have the potential to revert all the way to day's highs, again, don't forget where the VIX is at. Given the volatility, I think it's well within range to kind of wipe day high, day lows like that. But yeah, VIX kind of trending lower here. This is a 3-minute. Let's take a look at a VIX on a 15-minute. Let's not do a 3-minute on that one. But you can see a nice little hold of that 29 at 26. So didn't quite get up to 30 there. I was looking for that 30 potentially coming in on the VIX today. Didn't get there, and now we're catching a little bit of a bid as volatility tries to revert back down. Let's see if we can get down to 25s there. 26 halves currently there. Let's see what UVIXI's up to as well. UVIXI, okay, we're still holding. Technically, we're still trending up here relative to the reaction here on UVIXI, but we'll keep an eye on this one here. Maybe I can throw in. I think I do have trend alerts on this one here. Let me just do that. Get a little cheeky with that one there. I want to throw an alert on that. Add an alert on the trend line. Boom. Let's go. So that'll show up if the VIX kind of give us a little bit of a pullback there. So I want to keep that on watch there as well. Casey France saying Intel short, days open 2140. So Casey saying they shorted Intel off of the open. Oh boy, yeah, so you took an opening print short. Yeah, you kind of got blasted there, but if you're holding for the end of the day, we're still kind of holding here as of right now on that double top there at that, what is that, 2233. Beautiful kind of a reversion off of that level there on Intel, and kind of comes into those day lows, range lows, and holding consolidation there. So it hasn't really done too much after that strong leg up and the strong leg down as well. So what is the high here on the TQs as of right now? Let's see, 5301s. Okay, maybe you want to get a little bit, give this one a little bit of a closer look here as we potentially may be slowing down. I have no idea. Hasn't really shown us anything just yet, but I'm going to keep an eye out, right? You got to hunt for those opportunities and keep eyes on the areas where where opportunities can potentially show up. And if they do, I would like to get involved. But let's keep an eye out on these TQs. I got eyes on Amazon as well. Let me know what you guys have eyes on as well, because I'm looking for that next trade, Joe.
Yeah, for sure. Obi, me too, brother. We're still sitting in this NVDA trade. As the market starts to climb higher, it's not participating, so we're going to have to be a little bit more patient. That's okay. Let's see, I told you where we're going to get out here. Not going to give it too much risk. If we come back into this zone and it doesn't hold up, I wouldn't be surprised if it does some form of liquidity grab, and then we can climb higher. But yeah, I see a bit more reverse head and shoulders on CRWV. Yeah, let's take a look at that, because I know a lot of traders in the chat have been referring to it today, CRWV. Again, so yeah, breaking down here in NVDA. So yeah, frustrated, but okay. Yeah, nice bottoming signal here on CRWV as the market starts to pull in a little bit, waiting for some resistance zones to hold up as potential support. So yeah, we'll be patient, monitor what's going on, but CRWV looking pretty good here, guys. Nice bounce off of the bottom as the market is starting to pull back in. Let's see what Tesla is up to. That was the trade that I missed out on as NVDA is coming back in. So yeah. Nice look there on Tesla breakthrough, ran right into this prior resistance level. That was my target. It's unfortunate that we got out of it, but that's okay as the market starts to pull back in. We'll just be patient and wait for a potential additional entry. I'm going to have to get out of this trade here momentarily as soon as we go into 50s, and there we go. We break down, have to hop out. Don't want to hold on to that for too much longer. So that's what that is. Again, if we can catch the bottom of the range, I think we're much better positioned. So yeah, let's see what happens with NVDA, and you can see that the rally in the market was significantly stronger. So there it is. But yeah, Obi, I'm just sitting here waiting. Amazon still trading nice off of that bottom. Really good call out on that front. BA, whoever called that one, really good trade. Now hovering below the volume weighted average price. So again, good looks on that one there, my guys. And yeah, IBIT hovering above the below VWAP as well too. So hey. Nice breakup, nice V recovery here, but we are starting to establish a lower high. Be wary of that. So if we go to the Qs, you can see what we have going on here. So we established this here earlier in the day. And then now we have the inability to construct a new high, and as we start to pull back into the volume weighted average price. So I'll be patient here. OBBA looking like it wants to climb a little bit higher. Tesla coming back in towards the volume weighted average price, and NVDA couldn't get through VWAP.
Yeah, so we're pulling back a little bit here. So I'm kind of waiting and watching to see if this is the actual selling here on TQs. We are pulling back on a few things there, so I got to be wary of that one there. So okay, so that's a little bit of an instant bid. Holy, wow! So as soon as I punch in, a little bit of an instant bid there. That's pretty, again, a little crazy. A little crazy stuff there, but yeah. Okay, so let's see. Where's that prior low right there? 482s. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's see if this one kind of comes in here. Let me just put in my stop so it doesn't, it doesn't kind of mess with my decision making. Just got to be a little bit nimble on the keys there. And yeah, this thing is coming in a little bit of a bid coming in off of that VWAP here on the TQs. But kind of staying nimble, trying to stay as nimble as possible here. I'll take a little bit off there for about 15 pennies, because I did get in a little bit aggressively there, not really too intentional. But I was like, this is nice. If this goes right away, I want to get into that much size. And look at that bid coming in, absolutely beautiful. 52s. Can we come into those 53s here on the TQs here? I got no idea. I'm going to take a little bit more off there as we kind of struggle in the 52.70s. I like to work with quarters there, and I'm working with 52.48s right now. So you guys can see that on the position board. So looking for that. So I got that next quarter right away. So taking that scalp really quickly for about 50% of the position. Let's see if that the trend holds here to the upside, and let's see if we break through that 53 mark here as we continue to bid a little bit higher. So I don't want to fight that. I tried the short below VWAP. I'm trying the long above VWAP now, and looking at that bid coming in real nice off of that push. Like we kind of pulled back into this this trend we've been making, and now we're pushing back up, respecting that trend. So I'm just observing that we're respecting that trend and kind of pushing into it like that there. So kind of piecing off along the way, because again, this action is coming in pretty aggressively. I was like, all right, we want to kind of slowly, like look how long it took us to bid back up on this strong pop, right? On this strong flush, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles into that, and then right here we bid up on a single candle, kind of reverting that move right back up to 53. So I'm like, all right, I do want to kind of piece off a little bit here. Let's see what Adara has to say with some breaking news.
Keep an eye here in COF. Apparently, New York Times reporting that Capital One's deal for Discovery Financial has cleared a hurdle from the Justice Department. So COF to the upside. Also here to the upside is Goodyear Tire, GT. No catalyst on this one. Responding very well with about a $3 billion market cap and a 7% short float. So COF and GT on watch here. Back to you.
Oh boy, I was telling Sean that was a crazy scalp. Like I took that and instantly kind of 50 pennies right off the bat, because we went to 52. So I got a decent chunk out there, only holding on to 10% now of that position, that scalp from 52 halves. Let's see if it holds, right? I'm more than willing to give this the break even now, or even give it to my original stop. That's not 10% to my original stop is not that much. Again, I even called out what my potential stop is. It's just below that prior low, or that current low at that 52.40. 43 level there. We're trading 60s right now. Quick little scalp potentially coming in here. Do I have an order to get out of the rest? Yeah, I do. I don't want to. I want to cancel that one there. Willing to take a little bit more off here and then leave the rest to the stop. Let's see if it comes back down to that prior low, or do we break down? Because again, I'm piecing off aggressively here because I think this might turn into a reason to continue the sell. Again, I'm looking for those sellers to come in, and if they're going to pop and shake and bake and we get that volatility right underneath that 53, I want to stay nimble. I want to stay, on my feet. Here we come. Here we go. Right here, 52.50, 52 half. So right there, back to break even on that trade. Let's see if we hold a little bit higher or sellers step in back below VWAP. We're rejecting that 19,000 there on the Nasdaq. So quick little price action here, a little bit of shake and bake happening. So you know what? In this market, I've been talking to everybody here. You just got to take what she gives you and move on to the next trade. And if that's all she gave me, she's going to give me 50 pennies right off the bat on the initial push, then I'm going to take that and walk away, because that is a little bit of an unusual action. I was going to show you guys the calculator right there on the TQs. I'm going to explain that right after we get back from Adara with some breaking news.
Through from Fed's Jefferson here, who started speaking around 12:30. I think he started speaking a little earlier than he was scheduled, but he basically said the labor market is solid and well balanced. The latest data shows inflation moving sideways, but here's the kicker. He said the current policy rate is well positioned to deal with risks and uncertainties, so that there is no reason to be in a hurry on policy rate adjustment. So Fed's Jefferson here echoing a lot of what these Fed speakers have said. No reason to hurry when it comes to these rate cuts or rate movements. He also said here that they could retain the current policy for longer or ease policy. It'll depend on the data. So keep an eye here for the market as Fed's Jefferson continues to speak. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that, Adara. Here we go, guys. In Google, you can see that we've just been constantly knocking on the door of this resistance zone, and we can't seem to break through it. So that's good that it's hovering around these highs. Lower volume on the selling side, so that's a positive note there, guys. On Google, if it breaks through and then we run into some of these pre-market highs, you can see how not very liquid it is. But I mean, it's holding up around these ends, and if some of these big names want to continue to rally, I do believe that Google can punch through this zone, but it is also forming a shelf, right? Trying to just give you both ends of the stick here to see what's going on. But I mean, if we start to get the ball rolling here in Meta, then by all means, in Google, then I think a lot of these names are going to start to participate. Meta has just been taken. My buddy Greg was like, yeah, Meta was taken to the woodshed. I said, no, Meta was taken behind the woodshed. And just absolutely, yeah, down 5% here. Same with NVDA. So, yeah, really tough look here on some of these big names, OB. So it's not good when you go to the other end of the woodshed, because you get chopped up, but we know what happens at the back of it there. So, yeah, really getting...
I'm joking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 7% here as well, too, down on NVDA as it's looking like it wants to crack through some of these key trend lines here. And what we drew here earlier in the day is this, and then now we're kind of sitting on the backside of that trend. So a nice rally in Tesla. That was a nice break through the volume weighted average price and multiple nice bottoming signals, to be honest with you. So good look on that front. Let's see what happens in Google. I do like that it's hovering around these highs and into those resistance zones. So if it breaks the lower end of that shelf, then we'll just have to look to get out there as the TQs start to pull in. But the volatility, we can go over the VIX as well too, guys. The volatility is fully stepped up. We'll take a look at what the VIX is. And with that, when we have a heightened VIX, that we're going to start to get increased options premiums because that's how essentially things work. So is this the VIX? Oh, okay, all right. So I mean here, like we were as high as, is this it? What's going on here? Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, Obi, here we go. Nice, like as you can see, the market really started to die off, and then you get that heightened level in the VIX. Brando and Obi were talking about it this way. Brando was referring to the futures ones, but here, this is the CBO of volatility. So again, just knocking on that door of 30 almost essentially, 29, 23, and then now coming back as the market is recovering. So you see that inverse correlation between the market and the fear index here. But running right into some of these key resistance levels is the VIX. So putting in a high of 29.45. Are we going to crack through that? Yesterday's volatility after the bell, and when Donald started speaking about those reciprocal tariffs, that's when you really seen the spike in the market. As we started to head lower, then you can see that correlated here with the VIX to the opposite direction as we pop in, and now hovering right around those highs that we were sitting at on March 11th. So a little bit close to a month ago there, Obi, on the VIX.
Yeah, so again, whenever the VIX kind of pops above some of those levels, I always have alerts on at different levels kind of to remind me, being like, okay, VIX is elevated, change up that play style, right? So yeah, that's definitely that's definitely something I'm trying to do a little bit better with. Elevated VIX like last month wasn't the best for me, and I was trying to kind of adapt to different things there, and a little bit of consolidation on the overall P&L if I do say so. But that is sometimes growth pains are more than worth it in the long run there. So getting used to trading fluctuating volatility is what I'm talking about. Wayne and I were having this talk this morning, kind of being like elevated VIX maybe makes sense to size down and risk a little bit wider. The trades are still on the table, but the volatility might chop you up a little bit before the move actually happens, right? You can have great ideas, but again, the execution set around those ideas is what's going to make that difference, right? And sometimes that execution set might need to be changed up a little bit with different levels of volatility. So that's something, again, we're all trying to get a little bit better at here. But it is a work in progress, and definitely some good growth along the way as well. Micron can't even bounce, man. A bit of a dead cat on this one. Micron right here. Look at that MU. We were looking for that reversion potentially back. Oh boy, reversion potentially back to VWAP. I had eyes on. I'm like, well, this should kind of go right away. And I'm like, if it went right here, I would have probably been like, I missed it, but I didn't take anything because I'm like, maybe it should be entering in and around here. But you can see that that's kind of getting chopped up right now, as well as a dead cat bounce here on Micron. Same thing kind of happening here on SMH. Didn't really quite get back up to VWAP. We did get a little bit of a bounce there, but continuing to make some lower highs now, building into that 197.47 day low right here. You can see that we rejected that 200 mark here on SMH, so that might be a little bit significant. Who knows? But that 200 is a lower high there. That prior test of that bar is a lower high technically, and we're extended off of that VWAP as of right now, as the market tries to tick a little bit lower here. What am I watching? I'm watching this Amazon, like I mentioned earlier here, so AMZN. Look at that, we're kind of chopping this VWAP here. I get stopped out on that TQs. Again, only had about, so I said 10%, I got out of another 5, had only about 5% left there for the pushback in through VWAP. Taking quick scalps off as it kind of, shows me the next direction. If we make a higher low here and we hold in around this VWAP area, we could be poised to retest retest that 53. That 53 retest came in real nice. That false break gave you a decent reason to get short right there on the TQs. And I sold. I was like, oh, reason to sell. I want to get out. And then after that, if I want to get out there, then I got to take at least a break even or at least a back through VWAP there on the TQs long. But let's see if we make a little bit of a higher low. Oh boy, says Rogelio Conception there in the chat. Yeah, oh boy, indeed. Trying to roll with the punches here. Amazon. Let's see if this kind of trend break brings us back into VWAP here. I'm not really going to take that trade, but again, Joe and I were talking about this. A lot of the times, the Mag 7s serve a little bit more as indicators to me than the actual moves themselves. You take that amalgamation of all the different Mag 7s and maybe some of the top constituents, and if there's a confluence of them kind of coming into some key levels, then maybe the trade on the market is a little bit on the board. But yeah, trading a little bit lower are the chips as of right now. Mag 7's just still holding some of their highs there as well. I still haven't seen any tickers in the chat. Let me know what you guys are trading, man. I want to know what you guys have on watch. I want to see what tickers are potentially in play for people on the day today. So throw that. Jameson saying long swing SMH. Nice little reversion happening there potentially on SMH. But let's see if that can if the bid actually does come in on SMH. Still holding above lows, but you can see that these chips not looking too hot as of right now. If the TQs hold this level and continue to bid back up, I do want to re-engage for a potential trade there. Just taking scalps off, man. That's all. I'm like, if that is something that I'm seeing currently in the market, just take that trade and move on to the next one, right? 20, 30 pennies every time can definitely go a long way, especially on something like TQs that is so liquid. I think 20, 30 pennies is a decent amount there. And this is what I was talking about here. A bit of a calculator that I have here on the day, so I can take you through what I have now. Again, you can make something like this yourself. Doesn't really, it's just a little bit of math. I can type in the ticker here. This is just, I made this on Google Sheets right here. So 10% of daily risk. So say, what do you want as a daily risk, right? Say my daily risk is $100, right? So say $100, 100 daily risk. So it gives me what the ATR is. 14-period ATR, current price. It tells me what 7% of that is. I can use it as a stop loss or not. I can use 10%. Sometimes I use 15%. And what is 75% of ATR? So if I'm in a move and it's done about an ATR, 75% in and around that period, I'm looking to potentially take some off there. And then this is T1, T2, T3. So like the grading of the trade there as well, what I feel like I should be risking on it relative to risk units. There, this is telling me the share size, how much I should be getting in if I'm risking about 7% of ATR. Now that can change, right? I can change this to 7, 8, 9, 10%, and depending on the VIX and depending on market condition, I'll definitely be changing that around here and there a little bit there. Just giving me a general idea. I don't necessarily take that size all the time. Sometimes I'm in trades where I'm like, yeah, I'm risking break even on this, so why shouldn't I be in everything that I'm comfortable with being in on a break even risk trade, right? So that just gives me a little bit of a direction. Now you can make that on Google Sheets, right? You don't necessarily need too much there. Just got to look at Google Finance and look at all the functions that that you can do with Google Finance there on Google Sheets, and you will have a lot more perspective into like a ticker's ATR or percent ATR or what the price currently is or what was the prior day's high-low close. There's a lot of different functions that you can get there. There comes the bid on TQs back up to 53s, 5270s, 5280s. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. A little bit of a shake and bake. We did make a higher low and we're popping right back up above some of those levels here. So I'm going to keep an eye out there. VIX taking a little bit of a turn once again there, back to the downside. And Softy, oh boy, Softy's hella strong on the day here. Look at this 15-minute chart on Softy, man. Go to 15-minute, go to MSFT, take out some of those indicators right there. Boom, boom, boom. Look at this. What is that? About 6 bars for an hour and 30 minutes, roughly. About a 1 minute left on this 15-minute candle to print. An hour and 30 minutes. We've been bidding straight up on Softy, bit of a reversion happening of that tariff sell-off there. TQ's bidding right back up, so the long is definitely not wrong. That day low pivot that we were talking about, Joe, that's coming in as probably one of the best places to buy on the day today, and that's coming in real hot. So good job on that one. Perfect entries there. Selling, you can always work on selling later on, but I think you executed those entries exceptionally well there when you saw that long coming in on the market there on the TQs. But the bid still coming in real hot, man. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait. I'm looking for the short. I'm looking for the long. I got no idea, but when a strong signal shows up, I will get involved there for a quick scalp on these TQs. And yeah, I'm looking through the chat there. Mean Gene saying now Palantir, they're involved in Palantir. Let's take a quick look at Palantir here. 85.35 is currently trading at. But yeah, we're making some highs. We've reverted a decent chunk of the move, that selling that came in, but we've pretty much traded within prior day's range as well, right? So that's something on Palantir holding up relatively strong. That shake and bake basically took Palantir nowhere. The tariff news took Palantir nowhere, and it's maybe a little expected, seeing as Palantir may not be really affected by some of those things. I was talking to a couple of the boys this morning, kind of about the mispricing that was potentially happening off of the open. And some of the aggressive action that came in right off of the open on some of these tickers that were potentially mispriced, right? So interesting look there. I do have to kind of go back and study that one a little bit there. We saw that some of that action potentially happening on Walmart, Nike, maybe some Palantir as well now that I'm noticing. But yeah, that's my look right now.
All right, we're going to send it off to Adair here, guys.
This part of the show is brought to you by WorkSport. Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport's a US-based manufacturer, and they are rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Derek, guys. Yeah, we hopped in some TQs here looking for this trend line. The whole got a nice little pop, but then you can see the volatility in the market really just bring everything right back down. So it looks like we're going to crack this shelf, and then I'll just hop out of that trade. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. So yeah, once we break that 52.20, then we'll just get out of there. Should have made it a little bit bigger and took some off at the failed break of that high. But again, the volatility is very near here. It's very clear here, guys. So a lot can happen. You see the price fluctuation. You make those pops, they're faded, then you buy right back up into them with the likes of Tesla and what we got going on in the overall market. Yeah, so once we crack 52.20, I'll just hop out of this trade. And it looks like we're going to head towards the downside. So you got to give a lot of room here in some of these names, Obi, as the volatility has most definitely stepped in. And what does that mean? I guess we talk a lot about it. And for those who are new, don't really understand, is that the average true range, so the average true range from a daily perspective is how much a stock will fluctuate from an intraday perspective from day to day, all right? So whether it be $5, $10, whatever, that may be the average true range of an underlying asset. But when volatility is increased, what does that tell us? Is that average true range, the fluctuation of the stocks is going to be more vast, and you're going to see a lot more ups and downs within the market. And that's exactly what we're seeing here today, is when we talk about the VIX being elevated, that is our indicator to say, hey, that volatility has stepped into the market now, and be prepared to widen your stops, take less trades, less shares, as Obi was referring to, and make sure that you don't have your stops in the middle of zones, right? You want them to put them below or above specific zones. That way, when the market is fluctuating, you're not getting stopped out continuously. And if you were to look at your positioning and where you have those stop losses implemented, then you can be like, oh, okay, why did I get stopped out this time? Okay, it was in the middle of the range. I need to size down a little bit and then also move my stop a little bit lower. So that's the same thing, that same narrative what I got going on here, guys. You can see that we did that nice little pop, failed to break through there, and then we just flushed right down. So yeah, and that's what this is what I'm referring to. 52.20, we break it a little bit lower, then you have to get out of the trade. Is that simplistic? If it wants to turn around, then you can obviously get right back in. That is the key to make those losses relatively smaller. TSLA was that was the trade of the day, unfortunately. But you can see that we flush right down and then buy right back up and head right into this resistance zone as we start to pop again here. So let's see if we can start to recover. I mentioned that Tesla was negative on the day, and a lot of these Mag 7 names are extremely negative on the day, so 4.5% on that front. Let's take a look at Meta, still down around 5%. Yeah, closer to 6 there, guys. But nice pops in the market, and then you can see they're met. But one thing to note here on Google as well, guys, that we ran into that resistance zone. We did a little wick above it, and then we came right back into the middle of this zone here. So yeah, that's the look on Google. I'm really curious to see if we break through it. And you want to look at the tape at key levels as well too, upon your entry and other levels. So that will help you as like, okay, what is the tape telling me as I enter my trade? Am I going to be able to stick in this for longer? Is there strong flushes to at the ask, above the ask, or is it the inverse of it? Is it at the bid or below the bid, right? So those are times that you want to pay attention to it. But when a stock is moving sideways, eastward, right, because that's also a direction, you're going to see a lot of fluctuation within the tape. You're going to see a lot of prints, and that's going to kind of confuse you and mislead you in some aspects. So for me, what I did, and I told you guys this yesterday, when I found out that when I had a relatively consistent strategy, I would go back and watch the time of sales to see what I was doing right, and specifically what the tape was telling me when I was doing right things. All right, so that was one thing that I hyper focused on, and it really, really helps out your trading, because now you know you enter your trade, and this is what you need to identify. What's the volume telling me, and what's the time of sales telling me? And if you have the ability to be like, hey, read those things, they take a lot of time. It's essentially an art. I agree on that fact. And you're not going to learn it in a span of a week or a month or a couple of months. It takes some time, but if you continuously stick at it, document your trades, realize where you were going right and realize where you're going wrong, and then go back and look at the tape, it's going to help you a lot, because when things aren't going your way, you just have the ability to get out of those trades significantly quicker than when you're just waiting on certain things. Again, and you'll get faked out. It's happened to me today. Again, we would have been on a full recovery here on Tesla if we had the ability to hold through that there, but I just punched out too early, and then NVDA wasn't really working out. That thing's just chopping around. So yeah, not going to take any more stabs on that one. But let's see if the TQQs can hold up here. Smaller size. Once we break this support level, OB 52, then we're going to get out of the position, and it looks like we're performing somewhat of a 5-minute head and shoulder pattern here on the TQs. Shoulder 1, head, shoulder 2, now running into the support level, looking like it wants to crack here, OB.
Yeah, it just does look like it wants to catch a little bit lower here. So I'm glad I got out of that. I'm watching Amazon as well as it starts to do a little bit of a curl here. But the thing is, like, we're holding pretty strong on the day, right? I think yesterday, some of this buying some of that selling that came in after hours was pretty extensive. We got a little bit of continuation off of the open there on a few of these tickers. Some of them a lot more than others. We can see that Amazon puked a lot more than others here. Again, got that UVIXI on watch. Pax saying, "Obi, look how the VIX bounced perfectly off the 20 EMA." On the 15, yeah, no, the bounce is coming in pretty nicely here. Again, holding that trend. So if you're using a trend indicator there, yeah, VIX holding a little bit of that trend. So the volatility is trending. Interesting, yeah, no, that's holding up pretty well there. And I gotta do the shake and bake. Do shake and bake.
The Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, it's
Ricky
okay.
Bobby. You're not first, you're last.
Why is this? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
I had to do it a few times there. Exactly. So like a Polaroid picture right there. Jameson saying Oxy. Let's take a quick look at Oxy and see what's going on there. Occidental Petroleum. Oh boy, wow, look at that. That's a beautiful continuation. Who's watching oil, man? Look at that relative volume 5 times in the pre-market as well. Beautiful continuation, bit of a gap give and go as well as it bids up right off of the open, rejects that VWAP. Sure, this is all in retrospect. But if you had that idea, that worked out absolutely beautifully. Trading near the day lows here is Occidental Petroleum. Let's take a quick look at some of these other oil names as well. XOM, yeah, look at that. Nice little pop. Not as clean as Oxy, but it does come in with sellers there off that 115.40 day high level there. A bit of a double top action there as well, and sellers coming in here at VWAP 1440s from about 10 a.m. to about 10:50, so almost an hour worth of chop underneath VWAP, and we cannot get above that. We trade a little bit lower there on XOM. Let's take a quick look at crude oil as well. Let's see what that's looking at. CL is the two-letter kind of ticker there. Yeah, continuation, a little bit of continuation happening there. Look at that strong relative volume. As soon as that 4 p.m. kind of hits, look at that. 5 times R vol on the crude oil future contracts here light oil crude futures here on the NYMEX. Look at that beautiful continuation. So that's selling coming in all of pre-market, all of the overnight session there, and trading a little bit lower. 65.98 is the current low, and you can see well extended off of that VWAP. Currently, TQ's back down to 52s. Oh boy, is that selling coming in, but take a look at this, relatively strong. Amazon holding up well along its VWAP. So the question becomes, do we make a higher low? This was that wick low right there. That was kind of significant there on the TQs. I kind of covered there when it got a little wicky in that area. I'm like, all right, that selling came in pretty aggressively and then held a higher low there. So that level right there is interesting to me. That low is 51.67. We're currently trading at 52 flats here on the TQs there, with the NASDAQ pulling back below that 18,900 mark as well. I'm looking for a potential sell here on the Amazon, but if it's going to hold up strong like this, then I don't really have any business really getting involved there. Other vehicles showing that selling coming in more stronger in some of those. And we talk about relative strength and relative weakness. So in terms of the market here, Micron was testing its lows. Take a look at that, breaking through day lows on Micron. We talk about a dead cat bounce, a failure to follow through into VWAP, definitely taking out players who are potentially risking long of that prior day low. Let's see what happens here as the market takes a little bit of a pullback back down to the downside, Joe.
Yeah, good look there, Obi. I cut out of that TQQ's trade there, guys. So, yeah, that one didn't work out. But nice. But see, that's the thing, right? So we'll go back to the TQs here earlier. I'll pull it up here. So we took that one, but that's okay. 1 for 2 on that. But yeah, just that small little mistake here cost us all this here move. We were looking for 52, and then we go a point north of that there. So yeah, it is what it is, right? Like those things happen. It's like, what you can learn from them, no doubt about it. So just pay a little bit more attention. Obviously, when you have a little bit more size on your ANSI, etc. But that's okay, right? Because tomorrow's going to be a new day. This trade's already done; it's passed. So yeah, we'll just try to get past that one and look for some other opportunities. Where is the next trade? So yeah, sorry, I don't want to switch that up.
Intel day low.
Yeah, Intel day low, and then I like the short signal on BA as well too. I know an individual in the chat mentioned that, hey, nice bottoming signal, but now we're getting that right at the volume weighted average price, and then looking like it wants to take an additional leg lower there, guys. So that is BA looking really, really good. But then we got this head and shoulders forming on the TQs here, Obi. Shoulder 1, head, shoulder 2 here, with the inability to construct a new high, local high here. So that's a good sign, constructing that lower high. And forming this head and shoulders pattern. So we'll be a little bit more patient. I mentioned earlier in the day, let's see on the Qs. So yeah, I was looking at the options chain this morning just to see high levels of open interest and what the market was potentially telling us from those specific areas and those strike prices, right? So that what I was specifically looking at, and now it has drastically dwindled. So at 455, Obi, there was a significant amount of open interest on the call side at 455. And then we held right there relatively strong. But now those contracts have now closed, and we're not seeing that. It's now moved over to the volumes column. So someone lifting those, and then the market continuing to climb higher. So that's a positive sign. What do we see? 450, a potential low on tomorrow's expiration cycle. I'm not saying we're going to get there today or anything along those lines, but we have 20,000 open contracts, closer to 21,000 open contracts at that 450 strike price. Can that be acting as a potential put wall and support levels? We'll wait and see. Those contracts will be expiring tomorrow evening. So if we come around those levels, I think it's going to take a lot of liquidity and momentum in order for us to crack that 450. But I do believe that the market is looking to recover. How much of this tariff news is already priced in? I mean, we're down over 10% now from the peak on the Qs. So from that peak, we are now at 16% off of those all-time highs in the NASDAQ here, guys. So let's see if we get those bounce around 450, Obi. I do like this indecision print. Could be potentially an island gap, and that could be a nice play for some bounces. You know what we did on Amazon earlier in the week and got out at the right time, especially when that tariff news was released. You can see that we broke through some really, really key support levels, Obi. But now, once again, printing a really nice indecision candle on the daily, potentially setting up as an island gap, Obi.
Casey France asking both of us, does the dog wag the tail or does the tail wag the dog? I don't know. You got a new puppy recently. What do you think the answer is?
Well, I didn't get him yet. He comes in on the.
Oh, you didn't get him yet, right?
Yeah,
he's coming in
soon. He's coming in shortly here.
So as a future puppy owner, does the dog wag the tail or does the tail wag the dog?
I would definitely go with the first one. I think
first
the dog
one.
wags the tail, but
yeah,
I don't know. Never really.
It's a good question, right? Sometimes I think I don't know.
Is that along the lines of what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, potentially. It might be one of those questions.
There, Obi?
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say I think my answer would definitely be a little bit of the chicken.
The chicken came first.
I think. I don't know. we gotta ask that. I'm sure there's a scientific explanation for this.
All right, Chad. Put it. All right, Chad. Never mind.
Well, here's the thing. When we were single-celled primordial life
forms, or the egg. What came first, the chicken or the egg? We want to see. Obi says the chicken came first. I don't know. The chicken.
You know what? I got the GPT. I wanna.
Yeah, ask GPT. See what GPT says, and then maybe we'll ask Grok as well.
I've been talking to a lot of Soul. One of the the chat bots.
Chat bots?
It's the GPT one.
Okay.
Where you can speak to it instead of typing in. It's pretty much the same kind of thing.
That's cool.
It's nice. You can have a conversation, right? Let me go right here. GPT.
All right, guys,
wow, there's the bid coming.
Egg. Someone said the egg first. No one's really chiming in on that. What came first, guys? The chicken or the egg?
Yeah. Can we put up a poll?
Yeah,
I want to put up a poll.
Up here. What came first, the chicken
or the egg? I want to know what came first. Neil saying the egg came first. Okay, all right. So let me see if this is the right GPT here for me.
Chicken.
You gotta be the.
I think the majority is coming in the egg here, guys. We got a couple odd ones on the chicken. All right, chime in here. Let's see what you got to say here.
It's
We
an
need some wise
evolving
words.
animal that is constantly changing. Therefore, any current iteration has to be hatched from an egg. The answer is the egg. I'm just keeping it real.
Where does the egg come from, though, Neil?
Nerds got a nerd. Nerds got a nerd. You know how evolution works, bro. It's the egg. I'm just saying. Egg, baby. Eggs are delicious.
Egg, eh? What do you think? What do you think, Fabian? I'm curious to what Fabian has to say here. Fabian, what do you think came first here, my guy? He's not even here. All right, Ramin. We'll take the next best thing. Ramin, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Wow. Okay, so I got a good.
We're catching heat.
So Neil is scientifically correct, but from a chicken's perspective, I don't think as much here. And I think what is this? The GPT response right here. So I think this is good.
Chicken.
Let's see. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this right here. So look. The classic paradox. This is what GPT 4.0 says.
What does it say?
So from a biological evolutionary perspective, the egg came first. Birds evolved from reptiles, and reptiles were laying eggs long before chickens existed. So at some point, not quite a chicken, proto-chicken laid an egg, and due to genetic mutation, the creature hatched from it. It was the first true chicken. So Neil is right on that one. But from a chicken-specific perspective, because we're saying the chicken egg, which came first, the chicken or the egg? right? If you're asking about the chicken egg, then technically the chicken came first because a chicken egg is defined as an egg laid by a chicken. So if you're strict about definitions, then the chicken would have had to exist first to lay a chicken egg.
This is
right?
an absolutely...
So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
This is a dangerous rabbit hole to get into.
It's great. It's a like it says here, philosophically, it's a loop. It challenges causality, often used as a metaphor for infinite regress or unanswerable questions. So, speaking of,
you ended the poll.
Oh, yeah, she ended the poll.
Putting it up there.
Oh,
What'd you do,
no. Okay, it's 50-50. Okay, that's cool. All right. So we got some science lovers and we got some chicken lovers as well in the chat. About 50-50, it would seem. You guys are split down the middle there.
Yeah,
the Playmaker poll.
She cut it off.
Oh, she means the Playmaker.
She cut it off at 50-50.
John's saying God did.
God did. God did. Who did?
Nice. He's just like, exactly, right?
Pardon me, Ramin? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, boy. All right.
The caveman.
The chicken, yeah, I guess.
Well, no, but you read the definition there, Ramin. You've seen that a reptile potentially laid the egg and then it mutated into a chicken.
Proto-chicken.
Proto-chicken.
And then eventually down the line, yeah.
What's that?
But by definition,
are you a big Jurassic Park fan or no?
I like Jurassic Park. My brother-in-law, he's a huge Jurassic Park fan.
Big Jurassic Park fan.
Like you can wake him up in the middle of the night and be like, "Hey, you want to watch Jurassic Park?" He'll be like, "Yeah, let's go."
He's down. He's in for it. Right?
Yeah.
My type of guy, right there.
Yes.
All right.
So I've watched a few of them. I really like the first couple.
I might be asking you the wrong question here, but what is the name of that dinosaur that they created? That was just a mixture of like so many different things.
Oh, like the Alpha T-Rex.
Yeah, it was something.
The raptor?
Yeah, it was like a raptor mixed with a bunch of other things, and it was just like a pure warrior. So if you guys know what they called that one there in the Jurassic Park series, that'd be great. But we're gonna go to Adara, then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the Playmaker poll here, guys.
Sorry to interrupt the chicken talk here. We have a stock to talk about here. It is TCRT. The company is called Alwanos Therapeutics. This is a small cap runner here. Higher highs, higher lows throughout the day. No catalyst on this one, but a notable float. It's about 1.28 million shares. So a small float runner, that would be TCRT. Back to the midday, guys.
What? Yeah, on that. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, all right, Playmaker poll. Oh, it's 50-50.
Oh, boy.
What do we do here, though? Ramin.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with, boom.
You can't even vote.
52.
It's
I can
50-50.
vote. I just voted.
That's the chicken and the egg, bro.
Yeah.
The chicken and the egg isn't with the Playmaker poll. We can't, or do we correlate the chicken and the egg? Whoever
Have
wins.
you seen that guy, that chicken trader on Instagram?
No.
Oh, yo, you got to watch this guy. So the chicken picks what thing they're going to trade. They're going to trade the London Open or the New York, or I think there was one there's one more, I think.
The Indo-Raptor. That's
the Indo-Raptor.
Let's go.
Okay, yeah. The chicken is beating evaluations.
Is it?
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. We got to pull this up. I think
all right,
that would be a cool one to react to, Fabian. That would be such a cool one to react to.
Ramin,
the chicken trader.
10 votes. That's it. Shut the poll. 10 votes. We're gonna. Oh, we're already at 68. It's too late now. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna shut it down.
We're at 100 votes, bro.
We're
at 100 votes.
Guys, we already voted. What am I gonna do here now? I voted long. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're going long here on the Playmaker poll here. Short one. Oh, short one.
Oh, no, by 52%.
We're going short.
Oh, boy. Okay, all right.
Okay. We're going short now, guys. We're doing it live. We're going short.
Wait, what? What's happening?
Messing with us, man.
Are we messing?
The longs won. The longs
by 1%. Oh, boy.
Throw in the ones in the chat for the longs.
Let's
go. The Indo-Raptor. It's not the Indominus Rex, guys. We already figured it out. It's the Indo-Raptor. All right, guys. We're going long. We're doing it live. What are our numbers here on the SPY? 544.24. 544.24. That's 25. We're in. Where's our target? 546.24. Oops, can't type that in. Where's our stop loss? Going to be at 543.24. We're in long here, guys. 107 to be exact on time, because that's what we do. We are punctual individuals, and it's the 3rd of April, 100 shares. Let's see what's going on. Again, OBO, I mentioned time and time again, work of art. Look at all these data pieces here, guys. Who put it in the chat too. Everybody's throwing up the ones. I was being a little bit sarcastic, but I mean, here we go, guys. Like really, really good stuff. Just continuous collection of data. This is what you want to do. A work of art when it comes to trading. If you guys are doing this as well too, you know that for a fact you can start collecting data with us. And then when everybody says, "Hey, what have you been up to?" and you go, "Hey, look at this," and they're going to be like, "Whoa, that looks." I essentially don't know what it means, but it looks amazing, and that's what we got going on with the Playmaker poll there, Obi.
Yes, thank you very much there. That chart's looking real pretty there.
Yeah.
Up and to the right, as our friend Sharif likes to say there. I'm just sending Fabian this video. This is this is the video right here.
Back to the chicken and the egg.
The chicken passes a prop firm challenge. I think that's the one there on it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. It's actually hilarious. So the chicken kind of comes down and picks long or short. Right there, you can see that, and then trading USD, so gold USD here. So it's absolutely something funny to watch. And the chicken actually passes the funded challenge for the prop firm.
That's great.
Going through that selection. So it's a fun watch. I think there's a little bit more going on there than meets the eye for sure. But I think it's good. It's good fun entertainment there as well. I would love to kind of go through some of those. They're absolutely hilarious videos on those chicken trades. And it's doing really well. It's doing actually better than
what did I uncrack?
What
did I uncrack here with this here? I don't know.
What?
Went right into the chicken and the egg rabbit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you go on tangents there, and
that's all right.
Sometimes that tangent comes in real strong, but sometimes we just got to break that trend and take the reversion and get back to the mean. And the mean.
Hopefully the volume steps in. As
market not really that mean today. No. A little bit of it's given opportunities both ways, man. I think it's pretty good, decent action. Some of it's sideways chop, some of it's reversions, some of it's range trading as well as sideways chop. Again, can give you opportunities to kind of just capture that range. Maybe not the A+ of setups, but again, not those kind of setups not really showing up every day necessarily as well. Let me know in the chat. Did you guys have an A+ setup today? What did you say?
Man, you see, we could see Stevenson in the chat said. He's like, Stevenson said, so are you saying if I buy a chicken, I can pass my evaluation?
Yep.
Yes.
I mean,
there you go, man.
Maybe.
No, you
never know. That could be the edge.
I'm not going to talk about it. I'm done with the chicken and the egg talk here. I'll bring it up I'll mention one more thing. Are you familiar with Jamestown in the city?
Jameson?
It's like Rexdale.
Oh, no.
Okay, anyways, well, it's not necessarily a place where you would think that Buddy in his backyard had a bunch of chickens and stuff like that. I'm like, what is going on here? Which was
there are people in the GTA that have like chicken coops in their backyard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a chicken coop.
I think it's pretty good. It kind of gets a little messy, but I think it's good to be a little self-sustainable. Like
my aunt in Jamaica has like 50 chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just go there.
A lot of maintenance there as well. But
anyways, that's it. We're done. We're done. The chicken talk is now coming to a close here, guys, and we're going to get right back into these markets. I mentioned that we had a potential head and shoulders type PA on the TQs. We're holding up this support level fairly well, guys. If we crack this, we might head a little bit lower and run into some of these lows of days, but these bounces are looking really, really good here, Obi, for that potential head and shoulders pattern on the Qs. Let's see if we can construct a new high. If another lower high is established, then maybe we start to curl over and break through some of these support levels right at 52 there, Obi.
Yes, sir. So we got Abeliza. Sorry if I butcher the name there. Abeliza asking both of us here, what has helped you guys to deal with failing and blowing accounts and maintaining belief in yourself? I think that's a great question there. Do you want to start off with that one there?
Yeah. So failing, again, you just have to accept the fact that you're going to continuously fail in this game. As for blowing accounts, that's Like, I mean, it doesn't essentially end, right? Like okay, so from a failing standpoint, just understand that you're going to go through those trials, you're going to go through those tribulations, but just make sure that you learn from them. As for blowing up accounts, knock on wood, I've never personally done that, but one thing I will note
you
before
blow up at least a couple accounts.
No, I don't know. I will respectfully have to disagree with that, Obi, and I knock on wood, and I hope that I don't have to ever go through that. Pardon me?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Sean's saying he's barely had a negative month in 13 14 years.
Yeah. I mean, see, but so there you go. Katina Man just said he hasn't had a negative month in 13 years. But as for going back to that blowing up the account thing, for me, before I even touched simulator, before I even touched live trading, I went through I read as much as I possibly could. I went through educational purpose. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I taught myself. And one thing that I learned was that risk management is extremely key. And I practiced before I even got into simulated trading. I read a lot, and then I traded simulator for about 3-4 months before I even touched the live account. And with that, I just always had risk measures in place. I was fortunate enough to have a platform where I could set up hotkeys that had calculated fixed risk. So what it would do, it would calculate your amount of shares, set your stop, and set your profit targets for you. So in the beginning stages of trading, if your platform has the ability to do so, make sure you implement those. You're going to have those trades where you take the outsized losses, but as long as you learn from them, then you should be okay. But as for blowing up accounts, I personally never done that. Knock on wood, I personally hope to never have done that. But again, it's because I went through extensive knowledge. I learned as much as I possibly could before I even put on live trades, Obi. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, that's solid. So I've definitely blown up a couple accounts there. Again, swing shorting will definitely put you in that arena of taking on said risk. So I think it's definitely an experience. Everything's an experience, right? It's like, all right, yeah, how much did I really spend on those blown up accounts? Was it a life-threatening amount? Absolutely not, right? I think that's critical as well. You have to be able to continue to survivability. So this is the one thing that I learned over many years. Survivability is your number one priority there if you're really trying to look at this.
Especially in the first 2 years.
Especially in the first 2 years, yeah. It's very important. And so to reiterate the question, they're asking what has helped you guys to deal with failing and blowing accounts and maintaining belief in yourself. So failure is part of life, right? It's like forget about trading for 1 second. You are going to fail at things in life. There's no other way to get bigger and better at them. You're gonna have to go through some sort of hurdles. Now you can call it a failure, you can call it a hurdle, but there are gonna be trials and tribulations. So over time, you can build up that resistance within yourself to be like, okay, throughout life, we know that there are gonna be struggles. We know that there are gonna be hardships, and it's gonna be different for everyone. So it is very subjective, and it really depends on how your perspective on life really is, right? But no matter what, everybody goes through some of those struggles. So it's like knowing that is going to happen and having a positive outlook towards failing can really change the game. You know that this is going to happen, but every time you fail, you get back up a little bit faster. You get back up a little bit better, right? So, and that is what causes growth in this game. So trading is one of the hardest things to do ever, in my opinion. And best believe there's going to be trials and tribulations. And yeah, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're very conservative. Sometimes you have the right kind of environment and markets, and you can be very consistent from a very early point. But not everybody has that kind of ability to do that. But normally, I think it's about 2 to 3 years. And for blowing up accounts, maintaining belief in yourself. At the end of the day, you have to be able to love yourself. At the end of the day, you cannot have any doubts. You have to have conviction. And how do you build that conviction? I think a great part of it is having a strong network, having a strong environment, other traders that you look up to and see that, okay, this can really be done. If I push myself, if I do the right things, if I follow the right things, this can really be done. And that can come from reading books, meeting up with other traders, and kind of bouncing ideas off. Taking losses and taking drawdowns can be pretty aggressive on your mental and really taxing as well. So it goes back to being survivable at the same time, right? And building that mindset over time. It's definitely not easy. I can tell you, I was going through a pretty bad drawdown last month. Things are getting a little bit better, but it's like I've been there before. It's growing pains along the way. You're gonna have red weeks. You're gonna have red months, and sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't have red months at all, like Sean is saying. But yeah, some of those months are still not like those are not easy, right? Some of those months can have really big fluctuations, and if you have the ability and the skills to kind of put you back on top, that's a skill that I'm definitely trying to work on as well. But yeah, risk management is huge. But I would say having a pod, having the environment, having people to kind of lean on as a trader can go a long way in maintaining that mental, maintaining that consistency, and knowing, just accepting. I even say this right now, accepting that you will be wrong a lot more than you are right, and your execution and your risk management and your edge at the end of the day is what's going to put you on top. So you have to figure that out, and that's going to be a consistent kind of journey, right? Edges ever changing. You have to view things in different ways as the market structure and scheme kind of changes over time. The regimes change over time, but at the end of the day, the beautiful thing is price action and supply-demand mechanics stay relatively the same, and that's kind of what I try to lean on more often than not. But yeah, you got to maintain belief in yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to stay positive. And there are times that you can be in a very dark place as a trader. Kind of coming in and losing every single day, it can be very taxing. That I did a lot of that last month, and I was just on a streak, being like, sometimes there are times where you question it. You're like, oh, can I really do this anymore? Do I really have it? Is my edge gone? And you start to realize that no. At the end of the day, you look at your stats, and you can look at your performance, and you can see and analyze yourself through journaling as well, and kind of come up with, okay, these are the things that are really pulling me back. That's what I'm going to step back, focus on specifically on that, and take it from there and try to get back on the horse. Because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, then what really are you in this game for?
Yeah. To add to your point there as well, too, Obi, and I know a lot of people in the chat were asking it. So there's so many ways that you can stop yourself from having that extreme mental taxation, right? The market is always going to be here tomorrow, all right? So except for on the holidays, that's the exception. But it's going to outlive me, it's going to outlive Obi, it's going to et cetera. So don't feel FOMO too much. Another thing, with stop losses, set with your broker. From a retail perspective, it's different. I traded retail by myself at home for 2 years. I went through a lot of the steps. You want to have on your trading platform, you want to have that max loss set, and so that you can't change it, because when you are not thinking straight, you will try to change that. So make sure you would contact your trading platform, have those risk measures implemented. And then you take the additional step of going to your broker and saying, I am only willing to lose X percentage per day. And if you hit that, it will lock you out and you will have the inability to trade. That is extremely, extremely important. I'm telling you right now, during that moment, it will suck. But the next day you'll forget about it and you'll put on some good trades and you will thank yourself on the fact that, like, hey, I stopped out when I was supposed to. I shut it down when I was supposed to. I came back the next day and I performed. Now, with trading, we talk about losing and you have to get comfortable with losing, but unfortunately, we weren't wired that way. So we need to rewire our brains to accept the fact of losing, right? You can't go into a test or write an exam for university or college or whatever you may be in and come out with a 30% win rate and expect to pass. No, you automatically failed. We are wired to be right all the time. Unfortunately, in this game, we have to rewire our brains to accept the fact that we are going to be wrong, and the fact we may be wrong more than what we necessarily would like. Okay, so just take that in. It takes a long time, years of schooling where you have to be right in order to pass. This isn't the case here. You need to rewire your brain and you need to get comfortable with losing. Someone in the chat said it and said it perfectly. The best loser wins. Let's see what Adara is up to.
We're going to take a moment here, guys, to thank our friends at ProfitX, because in sports playing, flexibility is everything. And at ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot, customize the odds to fit your risk. Why would you settle for a single offered price when you can just set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime and anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. So take the time there to check that out. ProfitX. Back to the Chicken Boys.
Chicken wings, yeah. There we go, guys. Breaking through. So this support and resistance zone, or sorry, this head and shoulders pattern really coming into play here as we crack that neckline. So looking really good. Yeah, let's see what everybody else in the chat is up to. If you guys, and what everybody's chiming in on, everybody's liking the motivational. I mean, that's what it is, right? I'm assuming that a lot of you are at home trading alone. I've done that for years, right? And at times, that's why you join communities like this. You learn from one another, and you learn from like individuals like Neil and Katina, man, who've been doing this for a long time and have gone through all of that stuff, right? So eventually it sucks during that time. It's not going to be good. You're not going to have fun. But just remember, have a short memory. Start to rewire that brain. It takes a lot of time. But if you just stick to it, what's that song go? I got knocked down and I get back up again. Just keep doing that, right? Like pardon me, good track. Yeah, Chumbawamba. I get knocked down and I get back and I get right back up again, right? So that's essentially what it is. And be prepared to just be continuously knocked down. But if you just learn from that mistake and just come in the next day and try to improve yourself, then I think you're already on the right path. Educate yourself, risk measures with your broker. There's steps to it. There's levels to this game, and you're in the right place to learn what you need to do to become successful. And as the markets are breaking down, we are now continuing to bleed, running into these lows of days here, guys. We're not quite there just yet. 50, 60 on the Qs, on the TQs is that low of day. We're about 1 point away from that. So be patient. Let's see what's going on. Tesla gave up some of its key support levels as well here too, guys. So breaking through the volume weighted average price, nice run up into 272 roughly, and then now coming back in. With that being said, let's take a look at the options chain to see what we might, what potential peaks we had in this name. So what was our high? 271.61. Where's the highest level of open interest on this week's expiration cycle? That is 280. Am I saying that we're going to get there? No, but there is a hefty amount of contracts at that 280 strike price on this week's expiration cycle, Obi. Approximately 30,000 open contracts right now on Tesla, guys. So just pay attention to that. We might struggle to crack through to get to 280 and to crack it. You've seen our high day was at 272. I mentioned the low day as well on the Qs with that 450 strike having significant contracts, but now it seems that those have closed. And now that's why we kind of get a little bit more free will, some volatility going on. Unfortunately, Google couldn't break through that resistance zone there, Obi. It knocked on the door plenty of times and then had the inability to crack at 152.50 and then now coming back in towards the volume weighted average price, my friend.
Yeah, so I just came back, sat down.
Oh, you're muted, brother.
So I just came back and sat down here, just looking at here the TQs. We did break that prior low and kind of bid right back up into it. So let's see if we can get a quick little pop here back into the trend and maybe to VWAP, or we just break back down towards those lows there as well. I'm willing to give it a little bit of room here to let that one work. But yeah, let's see if the bid can pick up in and around here. Is that a false break? Potentially, I like a little bit of what may be potentially going on here. But again, more than willing to be wrong. Nothing decent, nothing high probability just yet. But yeah, I'm waiting and watching. VIX is kind of curling back up here. 2785s here on the VIX. And Intel still consolidating near its day lows. Micron continuing to make some fresh lows as well as it continues to the downside. You can see right here, beautiful kind of a downtrend, nice continuation. Was looking at it and I was like, this is probably going to dead cat bounce. And oh boy, did it bounce? Did it not bounce at all? Just like the dead cat is supposed to go. But yeah, no, Amazon reverting back to VWAP here, so that was pretty nice there. AMZN. So let's take a quick look at that one there. So yeah, that reversion is coming in quite nicely here, back down into VWAP. Let's see if we can get some more selling back a little bit lower, or does VWAP hold here? We did break that prior low here. We broke prior low here on the TQs as well. And let's take a quick look throughout the names. So NVIDIA making technically a higher low here, but rejected off of that VWAP pretty nicely. MSFT, that was pretty strong earlier. That's taking a little bit of a pullback. 377.49s high a day, currently trading at 76s. Maybe that again, things have pulled back into their VWAP. Let's see if Softy can get down to their VWAP. Apple, oh boy, Apple kind of relatively weaker than some of the other ones, but yeah, in line with the rest of the market here. Sideways chop. coming in today's lows here, but let's see if we do continue to make higher lows. We still haven't made a lower low than this prior low here, or some of this consolidation in and around here. It seems like I'm probably going to get stopped out here on my TQ's position, so that's probably going to happen. Just going to be patient and wait for that one to come in. But yeah, if we don't bid off of here, that's perfectly fine. I'm more than willing to come in and try again a little bit later as well. And if we're going to continue to sell off, that's I can't do too much in terms of fighting it too aggressively. Softy taking a pullback here. Maybe the TQs do come in, but I like that little bit of a lick grab action as well as the selling kind of slows down. Selling came in pretty aggressively all the way from 53s. That 53 was a great reason to sell. I had a little cheeky scalp into that 53 test. Didn't really get short on the way back down, but you know what? Sometimes you miss the move. You take the next one there, and potentially looking for the next trade here on the TQs. Once again, maybe setting up for a scalp, but not as high conviction as some of these other ones there just yet. So I'm going to keep eyes on him. This is a little bit of a counter here, as again, Amazon's back down to its lows. Apple's testing near its lows. Microsoft is breaking its trend as well. Tesla's breaking its trend, coming back into VWAP. Nvidia's chopping in and around the lower quartile-ish of its opening range there as of right now as well. So yeah, looking a little weak here on the markets. I'm willing to, again, like I said, stop out a couple times before we get involved. But that 19,000, oh boy, we couldn't even get back to that 19,000 here on the NASDAQ. We've been continuing to make lower highs and lower lows. Let's see now with this lower high here, does the NASDAQ come in and break that low day to make a fresh lower low as well? That's the question that I'm asking right now. No idea what's going to happen, but oh boy, there comes some of that selling here on Softy. So that'll definitely pull the markets in. Remember, you got to take a look at these constituents, right? So something I like to go to is Slick Charts. So Slick Charts right here. So that'll give you the constituents of the market. So you can kind of go to this website here, and where's S&P 500, go to companies. You can see right here, this is kind of what the weighting, so the distribution by weight is here on the spider. Oh boy, don't want to click that. So on the spider there, so okay, close all those. So Apple right here, it's coming in at a weighting of 7%. So Apple is the highest weighted, and Softy second highest weighted. So Softy, again, the action on Softy, should I be weighing that a little bit more? Depends, relative to what, right? Nvidia coming in a little bit less as well, 5.63. 3.85% is Amazon, so obviously I have eyes on Amazon as well, because that's going to make a little bit of a move. And you can see, like, why do you look at the top constituents, you might ask? You can see the weight analysis right here, and it's a beautiful thing. The top 50 companies in the SPY, the top 50 companies make up for about 58%. So I like 51%. I'm like, all right, so about 51%, a little over half. How many companies make up 51%? It's about 30 to 32 companies in the spider. So you only need to look at really the top the top ones, and then obviously I look at a map to kind of cover the rest of them to see if the rest of the 49% of the spider here, the rest of the 500, 470, I guess, companies are making some significant moves, then that'll be weighted as about half of the weighting there on the spider. So you can do the same thing with the NASDAQ right here. So top components here, Apple, Softy, Nvidia, Amazon. So more of the same here, but might be a little bit more tech heavy because it is the NASDAQ, and it's only composed of 100 tickers as well. So you can kind of drop that down into the weight analysis here as well, and you can see what comes in and around, I guess, 51%. So look at 51.1% is the top 11 companies. So I'm looking at the MAG. That's why I'm looking at the MAG 7 as much as I am, because literally most of the MAG 7 make up for half of the components in the NASDAQ 100, right? So the top 10 roughly coming in at 48.7%, and the MAG 7 themselves maybe coming in at 40%. So there's a reason why you kind of look at the top names there to give it a little bit of an indication. Doesn't always kind of come in nicely, but I think nuances can definitely be derived off of using some of those things there. But regardless, at the end of the day, price action is king, and we're still kind of holding below VWAP now. We've made a lower high on the day, and Amazon is trying to test its VWAP as well. Softy's coming in pretty nicely. Like I said, Microsoft, why do I have eyes on that one? If that one cracks and gets a lot more aggressive, look at how extended it is away from VWAP, 373s. If Softy decides to make its way down into VWAP, I wonder what the market's going to do. Right? Does that change the probability for the market low to kind of come into play? Potentially, depending on how you're looking at things. But yeah, no, Softy with a little bit of a pullback. Apple near day lows as well. But if Apple kind of bounces, I got that on watch as well. Probably going to get stopped out of that TQ position here, but I'll let that run and let that work as of right now here on Softy. But let's take a quick look at Apple here. Yeah, so Apple coming back into its lows. That prior low, Joe, is sitting at 203.70, so we're about 20 pennies away from there. But yeah, this is what I got on watch as of right now. People are talking about short Netflix, short SPY, saying Dewey Nugent. All right, so let's take a quick look at NFLX as well. Again, another one of the top constituents as well, a little bit further down the list, but definitely one that can cause some moves here. What do you got going on for us, Joe?
Yeah, guys, let's finish up this put to call ratio. I think it's very important for today's market environment and what we have coming up in the future as well, too. So let's get a little bit, okay, we're going to go to Adair and then we'll get back to this.
Yeah, just keep an eye here on, I mean, this is just the market in general, but be aware here, more tariffs in talks, apparently. We have, I'm seeing here that apparently the White House is floating around the idea of possibly launching a tariff investigation into critical metals imports. So now any of these mining or metals imports related stocks could be on watch here. Again, reports floating around here on X that the White House is considering launching a tariff investigation into critical minerals imports. Back to you.
Yeah, guys, so crap stock, I see what you guys are talking about, Steve M. Guys, just keep it friendly, all right? We don't need this this back and forth, all right? So BVB will take care of that. This is a positive environment, so just stay that way. There's nothing wrong with having constructive conversations, but make sure it is exactly that. You're staying constructive, okay? So trend confirmation, momentum strategy. Traders use the PCR with price trends to confirm strength. PCR rising while prices are falling equals confirms bearish trend. PCR falling while prices are rising can confirm the bullish trend, okay? So, for example, if a stock is in a strong uptrend and the put to call ratio remains below 0.8, it suggests that the bullish momentum is likely to continue. Now, let's take a look at some actual charting here. And what you notice as we go on the, as we climb higher, all right, you can see the put to call ratio start to decline. And then high levels of volatility, that's when and we start to come to the downside, that's when you're going to start to see the put to call ratio start to increase. So what, okay, yeah, okay. Anyways, back to this. So that's just an example here. Sorry, guys, I was reading something in the chat. So yeah, again, so you can see on the declines here, you see that put to call ratio start to increase. And then as we go on the incline, it starts to dwindle off. And same thing again, you can just correlate that with the put to call ratio in a positive or even negative trending underlying asset. Now, for institutional versus retail sentiment. Retail traders tend to buy more calls in bull markets and more puts in bear markets, fairly obvious, while institutional traders often sell options, meaning a higher put-to-call ratio could indicate that the institutions are selling puts, which is actually bullish, okay? So when you are selling puts, you are now synthetically long, okay? So it is the inverse of what it is. If you are buying a put, you are short, you are building a short thesis, but if you are selling a put, you are establishing a long thesis, all right? So example, if institution traders are selling puts heavily, it means that they are confident that the market will not fall further. This can be a bullish signal. Well, how do we identify this? All right. So you say, Joe, we're looking at the put to call ratio. But again, what can we do to kind of get more in depth of what's going on? Okay. So that's where you look at high levels of open interest. And that's where you can establish high levels of support and resistance zones that can also indicate multiple things, okay? So Key takeaways: put to call ratio greater than 1 suggests bearish sentiment, but extreme readings can indicate a bullish reversal. PCR of -1 suggests bullish sentiment, but too low can signal overbought conditions. PCR works best when combined with other technical indicators for better decision making. Institutional activity matters. Not all high PCR ratings are necessarily bearish. All right, and no, the only reason I say that, Mr. Duckets, is because I don't want you to get timed out from bear versus bulls. All right, so just take that into consideration, because he'll be quick to jump on that trigger and put you on timeout. So that's why I'm just saying, just be constructive. All right, so that's the name of that game, because everybody's here looking to have a good time. All right, so yeah, that's it on PCR there, OB. So heightened put to call ratio means that more retail can be buying puts, and a lowered one would be that we are buying more calls. And to correlate volatility with that, when we have lower put to call ratios and more individuals are buying calls, you're going to see the volatility in the overall market start to compress as well too. It's not going to be as vast as it is when you see a heightened put to call ratio. So therefore, more individuals buying puts compared to calls there, OB.
Yeah, nice, good stuff there, Joe. I'm kind of watching these futures attempt to take a little bit of a bid up there. So kind of, oh boy, all right. So there we go. There, nice little pop coming in there. 52.10s there on the Qs. Nasdaq kind of popping up into that 19.8 level there. I do want to stay a little as nimble as possible there. Things are getting a little bit volatile here as again the VIX kind of jumps around on the day. Again, got to keep eyes on the VIX as well here. Yeah, VIX with a little bit of a pullback right here off of 28 level.
Sorry, Obi, can I cover one thing here real quick? So Luis Martinez, where can we see the open interest on the options chain? So you need to pull up your options chain, and then you're going to see in a specific column next to your delta, thetas, and all your Greeks, volume, etc., you're going to be able to implement the open interest. It'll say OI or open interest, and then you can just insert that along with those Greek columns as well too. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no worries. So we're kind of stepping up here on the bid. We're 52's coming in nice. Again, VWAP's all the way at 52.58. So I don't know if we're going to come in that nicely. We did kind of break that bit of a downtrend that we got off of these highs. So this is what I'm looking at right here. We did kind of break out of that. So looking for just a quick little scalp here, a little scalpy scalp, 20, 30 pennies at a time. Again, we talk about how much percent of the ATR that can potentially be there on the TQs. I got to pull up my chart again, or my calculator. So about, 30 pennies. So 38 pennies roughly I have as about 10% of daily ATR. Oh boy, so look at that. Nice little action coming in here. So I do want to lighten up a little bit there on this move. Again, just trying to stay nimble, just taking quick scalps off. I know there's nothing really necessarily high probability on the horizon, but if in the moment, if I think I can take off like 10, 15 pennies on just a little bit of directional momentum here, I do want to put in some of those reps here. So 10, 15 pennies at a time. I'm cool with that here. 52's holding pretty well here. Let's see if we can get back up to the quarter. But that 18,900 catching a little bit of a rejection here as of right now. So let's see. I don't know how much longer this 52 can sustain, as again we kind of come back up into VWAP and hold a little bit of resistance. Right? Technically, we are still making lower highs on the day, so I do want to keep that in perspective and know internally that I know I am kind of counter trending here, and if I'm wrong, I gotta get out right away because again, that is the nature of said counter trend. So got to be nimble on my feet with that one there. Last ad I think was through the 52. There, 52 holding pretty well here as the Nasdaq. Let's see if it can trade above that 18,900 mark here with only about 20 minutes left until the end of the hour, and the market catching a wee bit of a bid here. Let's see if it should just chop sideways, right? If we're going to just chop sideways, then I think we're likely to kind of revisit some of the prices we've already traded, and we traded all the way back up to 53s there. But if we do come in with a lower high, I do want to be prepared on that and kind of piece off accordingly as well. So there that is right there. So a little bit of a more lightening up as we pull back through that 52, but still holding on to a little bit of a piece here from 92s. Yeah, 92s. I have 91.9 here. It'll probably show up as 92 there on the board because it rounds up. So 52 is holding as of right now. I'm just waiting to see if that 19.8 can catch. Is this the bid that takes us back into VWAP? No idea just yet, but a little bit of a quick scalp here for you guys on the TQs. Let's see what else is happening here. Softy catching a little bit of a bid. So we did kind of break down. Okay, I should probably get my sell out of the way there. If we were going to take up a little bit there. So just keeping an eye on this one. It's got to hold 52s pretty decently. Again, we're looking for higher highs and higher lows, pulling back up into that VWAP because technically the downtrend, the short-term downtrend has broken. And if we're going to catch a little bit of a bid, then the question is, do we revert to the mean? And the mean, again, being in and around that VWAP level here. Again, the VIX still trending a little bit lower here. So maybe poised for a bit of an uptick, but just waiting, being patient. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking at right here as I stare down this TQ tape on the day. Again, that was some volatile like flushes both ways, right? When the trend broke, that bid came in real hot and we aggressively pushed up, I guess, almost 30, 40 pennies there, right? So I do, like I said before, I want to take that off if that's gonna come in real hot. I want to take it off just as aggressively as the move came in. It's a volatile market and I want to stay on my toes. I want to stay as nimble as possible. I find that those are some of my best days and trades. And yeah, so yesterday, as you guys know, I was a little bit shut down on the day yesterday. And I came in today and I was like, listen, there's one thing I'm focused. Yeah, I got to stay focused, got to lock in and be like, it's not like, you know, it's not like you forgot how to trade. You're just not following your rules. Just follow your rules, get back up on the horse, throw up some green on the board, and that's it. That's all you got to do. And yeah, over time, yeah,
that's it. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Yeah, at the end of the day. Remember that we read that quote yesterday. Remember off of the book that I was reading, right? That's like ruminating in my head like a lot over the past couple of days after reading that, just being like, okay, well, this is an extremely important part or point, and definitely it's vibing with me in where I'm at in my journey in trading. But yeah, interesting stuff. Just got to keep things simple, right? That was the end of day message. Just keeping things simple. All of the learning, all of the advancements in your understanding of the market can be extremely high level, but at the end of the day, you still have got to keep things as simple as possible in terms of your execution set. And just mindset on the market as well, right? To keep things simple, things can go up, things can go down. At the end of the day, I don't know. What I do know is I like to look for the offside, and I think there might be a little bit of edge in finding that offside as well over time. But that's my little rant on that. TQs holding that 52, man. Let's see, 52.50s is VWAP. Let's see what my VWAP here on P-Pro is 52.30s ish mark. So we're only about 15 pennies away from there. So I got eyes on this one, keeping a close watch. Let's see if that can give us some of that VWAP. Softy coming back into day highs there, so that's a good sign for us. I was watching it, like I said, I was like maybe MSFT. Okay, there it is. So yeah, I was like, okay, if we come back in, we pull back down to VWAP, that could bring in the market, but guess what? We kind of hold this prior opening range structure here with a little bit of a higher low relative to what we made after accelerating from VWAP and breaking out of that prior high and opening range high as well. So interesting stuff there, catching a little bit of a bid there. That's what I mean. I guess you gotta stay nimble. Strong opinions loosely held is something I'm trying to do better with as of late. And yeah, if I have a strong bias long, but the chart and the price action and other indicators I have up show me that no, it's right now the probability and maybe the expected value for the short is better. Either I don't take the trade or I look for the short, right? It's like it's kind of just following those simple rules there at the end of the day, and just trying to extract a little bit of pieces off of this market. DJT saying Mean Gene and Jameson saying OB NVIDIA higher low. Yeah, NVIDIA, where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA, yeah, technically, I mean, we're chopping around VWAP, but it has made a higher low relative to its day low as of right now. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for. And the other one was DJT. Let's take it. Wow. Have you looked at DJT today, bro?
No, is it Refrain?
Oh my God.
Let's go with there you go.
Yeah, there's some liberation there happening on DJT. To the upside, 1775, just wick low right off the open, and then boom, what a trend to the upside here that breakout giving you, how much does this breakout give you? That breakout giving you to the highs about 4%. Wow, 4%. 4, almost 5%. Boom. Make that in a day. That's pretty wild there. DJT to the upside happening as of right now. Softy looking for that day high. It seems like as well. 377.49. So look at how the script kind of flips there as one of the top constituents catches a bid here. Let's take a quick look at the other ones as well. Keeping an eye on Apple. So Apple did take a bounce, right? We bounced off of that lower high technically, even though it was looking weaker. We did catch that bounce, so the market's catching a little bit of a bid here as well. Let's take a look at Amazon as well. I was looking at this for the short, and yeah, it got down to VWAP, so those shorts definitely catching a little bit of a move there, but look at that hold of that 180, what is that, 180.70? Yeah, 180.70. Now we're just chopping around VWAP, so just consolidating, nothing too crazy. Google as well, a little bit of consolidation sideways, so that's not really affecting much as of right now. What else am I missing? Google, Apple, we did talk about Apple, we talked about Softy, Meta as well. Meta is on that list as well, so Meta, maybe a little bit of a bounce off of VWAP as well on that list. So catching a little bit of a bid here is the market. Let's see how much further these buyers can kind of bring us in. Technically still though, lower highs, significant lower highs here on the day at the market. On the market, we are consolidating technically underneath, below VWAP, so got to keep that into consideration. I might want to lighten up a little bit here as we pull back a little bit more as well. So yeah, lightened up to about 10% now. Let's see how these TQs act. If we're going to trade back a little bit lower, don't necessarily want to be involved. Like I said, I'm just taking quick scalps, man. That's the idea today, and it's okay. I want to lose as small as possible when things aren't working, and when things are working, I want to get as aggressive as possible and try to build into the position if I'm not already into the full size on the initial entry there. But yeah. Quick scalps. What do you got going on?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I'm just chilling out right now, Obi. A couple missed opportunities here on the day. So just going to be patient with it, guys. You've seen what we had in Google. It just came back out. A nice liquidity grab. I don't know why I'm calling it nice, because it wasn't too nice to me now, was it there, Obi? But a nice liquidity grab here. Am I saying that right? Anyways, yeah, I don't know why. But yeah, and then it just engulfs and climbs higher, but now just chopping around in this range. Could this be a potential head and shoulders? Maybe shoulder one, head, shoulder two. Looking at that front. But then the real, so it's funny. It's just one of those days, man. So, okay, so that happened in Google, and then we got the TQQs firing up. And then we just make a small mistake right here, which cost us this whole move up here, and then we try again and get stopped out. So that was a really big bummer. And then TSLA, again, and someone in the chat said just stick to the plan so you don't make irrational decisions. And you're right. My plan was to hit into a specific level, 1040 here on TSLA, and I took some off too early. And then even though my break even was at 1010, it came to 1011. I'm like, just let me get out a penny earlier. But a penny, this is a game of sense here, guys, right? I remember watching some videos, and it's a game of sense, and that's why I was working on the accuracy of my entries, etc. And you can see that reflected in some of my trades yesterday and today here on Google as we sniped the bottom. But there's just a couple mistakes on my behalf that I need to clear up on, getting out, stopped out break even, but not getting right back in when it displays itself. And then just getting out slightly too early. So there you go. That's just the ebbs and flows of what's happening. Been doing this in my 4th year now, and I still happen to make some of these small mistakes from time to time. But just me being me, know that I'll be coming back tomorrow, and I'll be more than cautious on what we need to do. And that's what you need to, and I think that's kind of the game plan you need to establish on a consistent basis. Obi said yesterday he didn't have a good day. But if you correlate certain things, Obi, and I don't know if you can agree with that, you said the night before you didn't have the best sleep.
No, I didn't.
And what happens, you come in, you don't necessarily perform. What do? You go home, you get some rest, you focus on what you need to do, and then you come back in and then you perform and put up a solid day. So it's just, again, I talk about consistency all the time. It's really, really hard, whether you're a professional athlete, whatever, you're maybe a professional day trader. Consistency, it will wave out, but what differs in a lot of the real pros is being able to condense that and hop right back on the saddle and be more and dwindle that time in between being consistent and inconsistent to getting back to being consistency. If you can minimize that, then you'll be okay. And I think that makes some players really, really great, and/or traders, is that time in between of being inconsistent and getting back to consistent is really compressed and dwindled. So, all right. Yeah, in the back? No, I think, Wayner and Branks, those are our guys in the back there. They're always having a good time sitting beside each other. So, yeah, I mean, here we go in Tesla starting to curl over, guys. You see that we established another lower high in the markets here, Obi. We only got about 9 minutes left on the show, and it looks like we might want to head back to the south side here a little bit. But let's just take an examination. Let's kind of examine the volatility and just establish the range that we've been trading within on the session. We're just going to do intraday levels here, guys, all right? So 460 to 451. So we're trading within a $10 range. And if you pull up your ATR on from a daily perspective, you're going to see it heightened, right? Especially after yesterday's sell-off. I mentioned this, that, hey, I think these are just rallies until those retaliatory tariffs are implemented, that we're going to sell off. So we engulfed drastically as the volatility really picked up here, Obi, after the market on those announcements, and then we just continued to the south side. We did gap up. We have now covered that intraday gap and now heading to the support of some key levels. So exactly, there is no mistakes, just learning lessons, and that's what we were going about earlier. You're gonna lose, especially in your first couple of years. That's just your tuition, right? Think about it at university or college tuition, whatever you are attending. That's what the market is, right? You're gonna want to pay that tuition, but you don't want to overpay, and that's why you implement those stop losses. That's why you contact your broker, have that 1-2% loss in a day-to-day basis, right? So like think about it. If you set your broker from a retailer or trader standpoint at a 2% loss, it means essentially you have to be wrong 50 days in a row at max loss to completely wipe out your account. The chances of that happening are very slim. You will win from time to time in those earlier stages, but that's why you implement those risk measures. And the exact same thing from an intraday standpoint, all right? So if you have a $10,000 account and you're looking to risk $100 a day, you want to break that up into 10 trades, then it's $10 risk a trade. That's going to give you more machine gun type action. But if you find you're more of a sniper and looking for those precise entries like myself, then all you need is four trades a day. So I got 4 trades, I got 4 entries at $25 per trade. If I get hit at that stop loss, then you know what, I'll be back tomorrow and I'm going to learn from what I did previously and try to improve on that front there, Obi.
That's good, man. I think those are solid points there, man. Those are the things that you do have to consider and focus on here. Just to go back to your point about the sleep, what I realize is like, the sleep can make the biggest difference. So when I went back and kind of analyzed my trades from yesterday, I was like, yeah, I was I got shut down at one point, but there was one moment that made the difference. That's what I found. It's like it was in that moment, the more a 10 a.m. number came out, I was 40 pennies in the money instantly, and that wiped right back up and then bid back through my average price, and I didn't stop out on that action because that's a very bullish kind of action there, and I should be stopping out. And that happened within 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds roughly. I went back down to the 1 second chart and I took a look at how fast that action happened. Now, would a little bit of a better sleep quality have affected my decision making in that fast moment? Probably. I would say definitely yes. So I think, again, at the end of the day, as much as you think or don't think certain things might affect, it's about giving yourself that little bit of edge, giving yourself that little bit of advantage by getting that proper sleep and making those decisions a little bit more with a better mental, right? And at the end of the day, sometimes that moment can make the biggest difference, especially when it comes to trading. So that's kind of what I wanted to reiterate there. But that's a great point there, Joe. Let's see what Adara has to say.
This is Newsmax trying to pop up here with volume. I noticed it because I saw it come here on my volume scanner. So this one yesterday obliterated $23 million in market cap. Today, though, actually not doing too badly, opening around this $44 level, currently trading around 66. So NMAX trying to battle back here with some volume coming into it. Keep an eye on this one. Back to you.
That one's been going crazy, right?
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, I just want to finish off my thought here with it's a little bit of a proverb. I know most people have kind of heard this before, but again, this is what I get reminded of when I think of that situation, that scenario here. I should be getting stopped out of my trade here soon enough. Like I said, I only have a breadcrumb left, just giving it to those prior lows there. Nothing too crazy, but yeah. For things that seem unseemingly important, you have to remember that how simple things like getting a good night's of sleep can have a strong domino effect on the rest of your day. So the proverb goes, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost.
Stop the
For
fail.
want of a horse, the rider was lost, and then the rider, the message was lost. The battle was lost, and then the kingdom was lost. All for the nail. Right? So it's a proverb that basically says that having, there was a summary somewhere here, but yeah, seemingly unimportant acts or omissions can have grave and unforeseen consequences through a domino effect. Basically, that's what that little bit of wisdom is showing us here. And yeah, kind of maybe important to listen to what people have been saying, wise people over thousands of years, you know. I think I always find value in ancient wisdom like that.
Yeah, I like a little ancient wisdom from time to time. I like that one there, Obi. Yeah, I mean, yeah, guys. So Tesla running into some support. I agree with Obi. I get when you don't have that well of a sleep, you're easily agitated. If you're hungry, you get agitated. Everybody knows what it's like to be hangry. So you don't want that, right? And a lot of good points here in the chat from everybody. So when investing, okay, so let's see what Mr. Longshort says. When investing, Rome wasn't built in a day. When trading, okay, we're not going to repeat that, but yeah, I know what you're getting. So I see what you're getting at, my friend. So yeah, Katina, man, you're hungry? No, I'm just saying to you, like. Yeah, I'm getting there. Hangry, right? So yeah, so you don't want to be peckish when you're trading and stuff like that. You do your best trading with less sleep, says Ronnie R. Okay. Are you sub 30? Maybe, I don't know. I think
even then, man, you want to perform at your
you want to be, yeah, exactly. And that's like we can
you don't
talk
have to
about
be a
this
trader
all
to
day,
know that, right? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Like
get real.
That's the thing here, Obi. Whatever it be. Here in Canada, it's a competitive landscape, in the States as well, too. So for me, just having a natural competitive nature, you want to have the ability to give yourself an edge in every way. So it's like, I'll use this as an example. I know Obi's going to bed every night at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., right? No, obviously you're not, but I'm using this as an example, all right? So you go to bed at 8 p.m., but I'm out here partying till 12. The chances of his success are vastly higher, right? So me, I'm just looking across at my competition to see what they're doing and then trying to do it significantly better. That's just me personally, all right? So again, if I know, like with pro traders, that's what you're going up against. To add to Obi's point, it's the ultimate player versus player game. What do you think the best players are doing? They're not, again, they're not out partying all night doing etc. They're focusing on their craft. All right, and that's what you have to do here in the game of trading, okay? We got about 45 seconds left, Obi. Leave them with
Yeah, no, I really like that point. I always say that as well. This is a PvP game. At the end of the day, when you sit down and you put your hands on the keyboard and the mouse and you're ready to take fills, you always have to remember who you are trading, who the other people on the other side are, and who you're facing against. And sometimes you can find the greatest enemy is not the markets but yourself. Let's see what Adair has to say.
Before we send you back over to the guys, take a look at BA. This one having a little bit of a rounded top here. The National Traffic Safety Board saying that they've issued a total of 7 safety recommendations to both the Federal Aviation Authority, the FAA, and Boeing to address some non-compliant evacuation slide components on Boeing airplanes. So apparently 7 safety recommendations have been sent to Boeing and the FAA. Keep an eye on BA as we send you back to the afternoon show, I think.
All right, Zylu says Obi's my man. So yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good trading talk here, guys. Just getting to the reality of retail trading and even prop trading here. But it is now 2 o'clock, my friend.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna send it off to Neil and Sean. Solid lessons from you today. Wise words from my good friend as well. So
take care.
See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, gentlemen. And wow, just heard that story from Adara about Boeing. You look over, it's like, how much worse can it get? And like everything else, almost everything else, Boeing having a rough day of it. I find like today's one of those kind of days where you can't look at every single stock. You know, maybe it's not on your quote board, maybe it's not on your watch list. You pull it up for the first time and you're just shaking your